All right, welcome in, welcome in. We are live. The REMINGTOM Pod is back. We got a new Music Friday night for you guys. A new album that we're gonna react to. It's exciting. I mean, we found out a couple weeks ago that this album was dropping, but make no mistake, the minute we, hit it, got it in the pre-save, we've been excited for it. So we gotta actually fire it up, listen to it, see where it, I guess, falls. Album of the year contender. Does it count for album of the year if it's good now? I mean, obviously, I guess in the rankings, but year's almost over. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll see a little bit later. But for those, of course, tuning in for the Summer Walker album, I don't know, maybe we got some new audience members. Hey, we're big basketball guys here on the REMINGTOM Pod, so we got a little NBA Friday night as well too in the background. And make no mistake, we are, I guess, in the, deep in the weeds of NBA Friday night at this point, because I guess, again, I don't know if we have to talk, not disrespectfully, but I don't know if we have to assume that, people are tuning in for the Summer Walker album or for the old REMINGTOM NBA Hoops watch along, because I guess point being, we've got the Brooklyn Nets and the Orlando Magic on in the background. Maybe for those that aren't familiar, I don't know how you maybe even describe what Brooklyn did in the offseason with their team in a non-sports sense. If we had to put it in a musical sense, I don't know if it is, like losing a rap battle and suing your own label. It's not, I don't know if the correlations are quite all there, but they did, of course, have they had a lot of first round draft picks in this past draft for the NBA. So, in theory, a good thing in terms of the fact that you do have a lot of, just assets in general to maneuver around. You could potentially trade those picks maybe in that draft to try to move up and get a higher pick, a better player. Maybe you try to, trade them for a player that's already in the league. Maybe you trade them for a future pick that maybe has the prospects of being a higher draft pick from where they currently could be as well, too. But they did, typically, if you have 5 first round picks in the NBA draft, you don't pick all 5 of them, but they decided to, take a shot anyways and see what happens. So I don't know if that's the sole reason why their team is in the place that it is, but I think it would have probably have been, from a wins-loss record standpoint. And again, I get when you look at the future, the long-term, all the different stuff, there is, of course, you can be a low wins roster and still be in a good place for, where you want to be moving forward in terms of building a championship team. But there is still a version, of course, of the team that's not necessarily a good winning team right now, even if, like I'm saying, it does have a little bit more of those higher upside type prospects. But I guess, point being, they're winning tonight, so they're going to win some games. Maybe it's more of those, checkpoint games for those other teams where, maybe the Thunder are like this for, the good teams now, where, I mean, obviously they're the measuring, pause. They're the team that you're going to have to measure yourself against at this point to just as the standard of the best team in the league. But, in terms of teams that are able to actually get the weight on them in the regular season now at this point, it's like, hey, we have to take that into consideration maybe as like a, is this team, like, just, there's something to keep an eye on there for this team now. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they still only have 1 loss, right, on the season. Like, hey, I guess, every pod we're seeing on YouTube right now, the Thunder are in the title for the episode. So, make no mistake, they're lighting up the league. I was going to say, do they have a chance to potentially break the record for the wins record? But there's just no way that, again, it hasn't been brought up at this point. And I guess we could compare win percentages. Are they above whatever that winning percentage would be? I don't know. I can't do math, so I don't know whatever their record would be, if that would be it. But, again, they are obviously off to a really great start. But Brooklyn is maybe that team on the other end of the spectrum where it's like, okay, hey, if you're struggling against Brooklyn, that's probably a little bit of a red flag. And at home, too, for Orlando. Hey, so they made a little bit of a push here at the end of the first half to try to make this a closer game. Brooklyn had control in the second quarter, make no mistake. Their record is actually, 1-10 for the whole year. I guess it wouldn't be 1-10 in their last 10. That'd be, a stretch of 11 games there. But 3 in a row. And Orlando won 5 of their last 7, so I don't know, due for a loss. They're 6-6 now at this point. 32 seconds left in the first half. I don't see Paolo on the court. For the new audience members, Paolo Banchero, the best player on the Orlando Magic. Oh, Desmond Bain, though, one of the guys that they traded for in the offseason. I don't know what the new music comparison is for the Desmond Bain trade. The Chance the Rapper album 2019, not this year. I mean, this year's Chance the Rapper album was, what was the kind of underrated move that is like, oh, that actually did turn out pretty good. Like, that actually is a really good trade. That, shout out the Chance the Rapper album. People were maybe thinking that one should have been Grammy nominated at some point as well too. Chance does have that sort of that status of being Grammy nominated in the past as well too. So it's not a long walk for his his material to end up in that space. But hey, yo, pause. But music Grammy awards speaking, anyways, I don't know. But either way, what's the, what, I don't know, is the big day, the sort of the Desmond Bain trade? We need to take a look and see what the Desmond Bain box scores have been at this point as well too. Hey, yo, do we, well, I was going to say, do we edit Desmond Bain's face on the Luka Doncic page and say, Magic fans, it's not been too bad, but I don't know, that might be, that might be a little sketchier than just changing out the stats. I'm not sure. But, Luka, I guess he's down from his 40, Chet. Hey, yo, there we go. As long as he's below 40, Wemby has a chance to win the MVP. If Luka's scoring 40 a game, it's like, he might win the MVP, honestly. But I guess 34.9, it's still, is it historic enough to where, it is obviously historic enough to where he can win MVP, but I don't know, is it where, maybe the Wemby factor still would be a little bit more I don't know. We hope. We'll see. There'll be years in the future, but 15 a game, not to say that his scoring per game, of course, would necessarily increase. He could still be the third offensive guy in this team in a sense. Again, Paolo, Franz, and Suggs is a great trio to have to build around, but he could still definitely be better than one of those guys offensively. You would think between Franz or Suggs, maybe it goes, pause back and forth between him and Suggs on who's playing better offensively on a given night, but still. And you would think as well, too, with the opportunity, again, given the amount of playmakers around him, that he would be able to maybe have better looks as well, too. But I guess, we'd have to see if that's actually something that bears out as well, if that offense is setting him up in a, in the right, pause in the right spots to get good looks. But, yeah, 44% from the field, 30% from three is pretty. I mean, 30% is. What was Ben Simmons' 3-point percentage in the NBA? I know, Ben Simmons maybe took like. Is it crazy to say that Ben Simmons took 4 3-pointers a year? I feel like Ben Simmons is a good name to throw out there. Hey, yo, Ben Simmons. Even the for those tuning in the Summer Walker album, maybe Ben Simmons is a familiar name. Who knows? The Wizard of Oz. Oh, I thought that was gonna be like a pun in there for Ben Simmons' nickname, but no, that's just the Yank. I was gonna say Benny the Yank. Hey, yo, Benny the Yank is crazy, but can we say that, Chet? I feel like we might not be able to say that. I mean, hey, yo, pause, but also that feels a little crazy as well too. Simo the Savage. Hey, yo, young socialite, Fresh Prince. Oh, Chet. Ben Simmons' Fresh Prince nickname has basketball reference. Have they ever taken a nickname down? Hey, yo, Fresh Prince. I feel like maybe we need to, save that for, a player. I don't know. But shout out, the best Ben Simmons years were pretty good. He did make, there's a third-team All-NBA there, so, not nothing. One third-team All-NBA. Is that the guy we want to give nickname for the Fresh Prince? Hey, yo, can Luka be the Fresh Prince, Chad, of Bel-Air? Does that count? Are we allowed to give out that title? Hey, yo, what's allowed here? I guess, well, LeBron would be, of course, hey, yo, well, the King James nickname, of course, is one that he owns. But would that make Austin, I guess, would that make Bronny the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I don't know. Again, maybe between Bronny and Ben Simmons, if we have to, the Fresh Prince nickname, maybe Ben Simmons still takes the belt, Chet. Hey, yo, Bronny still needs to will Bronny make a third-team All-NBA? I guess is the question. How do we determine whether or not Bronny had a better career than Ben Simmons? Hey, yo, Chet, we're going to have a couple years to probably, talk it out at this point. I'm not going to say, hey, yo, it'll take a second, disrespectfully, but I'm just saying that, of course, it's a career as well too, so it's just gonna take those years, that time to add up. But Yeah, like what are his totals here? Can we get some? What? How many total points did Simmons score in his career? 5,000? Is that? Is this total? Okay, yeah, 5,021 points. So can Bronny score over under 5,000 points in his career? Ben Simmons, almost 12,000 minutes played, 7 years. Hey yo, and I mean, you know, I guess he does. I'm not gonna say I guess. He does have the injury thing as well too. Hold out / back injury. I guess he was holding out, but also if you have a back injury, do you have to do you have to hold out if you have a back injury? They're just kind of like reminding us of what the situation was. It's a holdout / a back injury. It could have just again been a back injury, but I was for some reason. I was thinking Ben Simmons. I'm looking at the basketball reference page. I don't know if we need to do like the 7-year Hall of Fame, but I was thinking like a Brandon Roy type of career. But again, I think we would still put the we would still put the way that their careers played out a little bit differently. We would put them in a little bit different categories because again, obviously we didn't quite get as many seasons as we would like, and then they do have kind of the split pause of, couple of good seasons in the beginning of their career, then, unfortunate seasons, injuries, whatever, and the stats kind of tail off a little bit for a couple seasons after that. And, I don't know how many All-NBAs, the MVPs and stuff, but it's not, too far off because, again, shout out, Brandon Roy, unfortunately a little bit of a shooting star there. But, again, I don't want to say... I know it's not totally fair to sit here and say again, hey, yo, it's Ben Simmons' choice or whatever. Like that's again, obviously, not the full situation, but still, I don't know. I don't know if that's how it'll be remembered. That's what I'm trying to think. Will it be remembered like a Brandon Roy situation? I know the thing is, again, he's not gonna, I guess, have the moments of like lumbering out, and not to say that you need to just like lumber out on the court with an injury to be a legend at some point, but maybe it's just like the overall sort of how do you get to that type of moment as well too. There, the steps for that could be a little bit interesting to look at, but Brandon Roy does have those sort of like last type of moments always, and again, I'm just talking from the Brandon Roy perspective here as well too, like that kind of always pushing through, always trying to deliver, and still, and then also when he was playing as well too, maybe he would have probably taken a couple layups in some moments that he could have as well, so there's maybe some different types of feelings there. But hey yo, I don't know, why are we rambling about Ben Simmons, chat? Hey yo, do we have to, who are we talking about? I guess something with Brooklyn. Is Ben Simmons gonna play? Oh, Desmond Bane, chat. Hey yo, shout out. That's right. So Desmond Bane 30%. Ben Simmons' for career is 14% from 3. So he's still above the Ben Simmons threshold. Do we have to go the Thanasis? What are the levels of 3-point shooting? Pause. 13%. 5 for 36. How many did I say? What did I say? Take 4 in a year. So he did take 11 in his second year. Hey yo. And then in 2021, he took 10 3-pointers. So, maybe for those that know Ben Simmons more for his off-court antics, make no mistake, Ben Simmons does not play like Steph Curry. That's for sure. Steph Curry, again, maybe the celebrity. I feel like you probably know he's pretty good at, his jump shot, his 3-point range is obviously, top-notch, best the league's ever seen. Ben Simmons didn't quite make it to that level. So, and, again, I don't know if it was obviously, the percentages never made it to that level, but the attempts never made it to that level as well, too. So 10 was quite a few for Ben Simmons. And then he took 2 in 22-23. So, hey, yo, those first 4 years, I guess, again, the injury the first year as well, too. So there is just, that overall history. But 11, 6, 7, and 10 would have been more than I would have guessed. If the trivia question was like, Ben Simmons' first 4 years, like, Ben Simmons the good years. I don't know. Is that a TV show, Chad? Are we bringing sitcoms back? Ben Simmons the good years. But if you were like, did he shoot over 5 or over under 5 or more threes every year for those first 4 years? You'd probably say the under. But I guess, hey yo, he was over. I mean, and 5 is crazy, Chad. 5 is is crazy. You're playing 82 games. I guess his games played. I guess we do the math. So 10 and 58 games, chat. That's not. I guess is that as bad as we were thinking? I don't know, but hey yo, shout out. Shout out to Ben Simmons. We're pro Ben Simmons on this pod, chat. Hey yo, it is what it is. Peacemaker. So he's got some pretty iconic IP as his nicknames, chat. Hey yo, Ben Simmons has got Fresh Prince, Peacemaker, and the Wizard of Oz, and Big Ben is that's kind of crazy as well too. Hey yo, but either way, shout out Desmond Bane, currently like we're saying above the level, but maybe Orlando is just this is just a franchise curse, chat. Maybe they just can't make 3-pointers in Orlando. I'm trying to remember, but we were in the summer. Hey yo, ad blocker. Looks like your ad blocker is on. Oh, maybe that's probably a good thing. IT shout out. But okay, we're back. But we were in this over the course of the summer. We didn't have live sports on to watch. We for the new audience here, we in the summer when we don't have live basketball, you know what we do? So you can subscribe and stay tuned. It's really exciting. We watch old games. We just watch old basketball. Shout out. We're big fans. But we were watching the old '95 Finals game. Shaquille O'Neal. So another name maybe you've heard of a couple times. But Shaquille on Orlando, young Shaq. That team. We'd have to go back and look at the 3-point numbers, but with Dennis Scott and some of the wings and the spacing, there was a little bit of a ahead of its timeness with the way it was constructed around Shaq, or should we say a timelessness? Ayo, in chat they just threw up an RIP on the screen. Ayo, you hate you should just shout out RIP. Shout out to the family. Michael Ray Richardson, former number 1 overall pick. I did see him running a couple of, there was the other night they were running a piece and I was, I had the closed captioning on for it, and I guess I'm not gonna say what popped up on the closed captioning, but I was like, wait a second, are they talking about Michael Ray Richardson? And Richardson, I guess shout out. There are I guess there haven't been like a ton of Richardsons. I was like, wait a second, is this an Anthony Richardson NBA doc? What's going on here? But no, it's Michael Ray. Sugar Michael Ray Richardson, I guess, listed here on the nicknames. But yeah, 4th overall pick in 1978. Okay, I was gonna say I thought he was a number 1 overall pick, but that obviously top of the lottery type draft. Number 4 overall pick, 6'5", 189. I don't know, a little I was gonna say a little Dylan Harper-ish. But is there Dylan Harper, Michael Ray Richardson crossover? 22% from 3. Okay, so Desmond Bane still above the Michael Ray Richardson threshold as well too. But hey, year 2 in his career for the New York Knicks, he was 10 assists a game, led the league. So 15, 10, and then 3.2 steals as well too. Made the All-Star team and was first team all defense. 47% from 3. Again, 70 or late 70s, early 80s. The push for 3-point shooting, of course, just not necessarily the efficiency in that being prioritized in the same way. And then did score 20 a game as well too later in his career, 84-85 in New Jersey. Ayo, passing of the torch, Michael Ray Richardson, chat. I don't know, 84-85 season. But he was, 47% from the field that year, and then 3 steals as well, too. So 2.5 steals over the course of his career. One of the best, I guess, quick hand defenders that we've seen. 3-time steal champ, 2-time all defense. So shout out, 4-time All-Star. You make that 5th All-Star, and I guess it's like, kind of that 5 All-NBA teams as well, too. If you're All-NBA for half a decade, you're probably making the Hall of Fame at some point. But he is, he's in that next tier of sort of guys that were, really impactful in a decade, really, really good contributing players. Again, I mean, for his career as well, too, you see the rebounding is even a pretty good metric there. 15, 7, and 5.5 rebounds for his career. Shout out. So, again, RIP, thoughts and prayers to the family and everybody in the situation there. But, yeah, great career to go back and remember as well too. I don't know. We throw on some highlights, and again, you throw on some docs as well too. I'm not, I'm sure there are other people that'll more lay out the details of the Michael Ray Richardson career, but just going back and looking at the stats as well too. There's some impressive seasons in there, and again, like I guess he didn't make All NBA, so that is a different tier of guy as well too. I'm trying to think like who's a all-star type guy right now, and then kind of the point guard-ish position as well too, in a little bit of a weird flux is Mike Conley. The shout out. We don't want to make him the obvious example for guys that didn't make a All NBA team, but the sort of above average efficient scoring. Again, he's above 45% from the field scorer for all of for a lot of his good seasons there in his career. So for the most part pretty efficient, even if it wasn't quite from the 3-point shooting range, but just kind of an efficient scorer, good playmaker, and then good defender would be kind of an interesting comp. And then kind of in that range of maybe 25th to 35th best player in the league. And again, he's in the All-Star game, so he's going to be at least in the top 30. Yeah, it'd be like guys that are kind of in that 15 to 30 range, where and again, obviously the legacy of some of these guys, it is what it is, but you're in that top 15 range, like we're saying, a half a decade, year over year, you're gonna be it is what it is, one of the greatest players that the league has ever seen, or just a guy that was able to again really consistently sort of dominate a decade. Like a even a guy like Brunson. And I guess like we said in the past, the league is obviously maybe a little bit more competitive right now in terms of the individual players than it has been in the past. But, a guy like Brunson can be second team All-NBA, third team All-NBA every year. And he's, of course, right there on being first team All-NBA as well, too. So maybe he's a little bit on the far side of the example as well, too. Hey, shout out the far side. But I was just thinking of another name as well. And now I was forgetting it after rambling there. Bane would have been a guy as well, too, that we would have... was Bane almost a third team All-NBA there? One of those years that the Grizzlies were winning a lot of games. So that whole situation, maybe it just is kind of you don't want to throw around the term lost cause, of course, but there was that, of course, the combination of those three guys together and the coach and all different stuff, had some success in the regular season, wasn't quite able to make that push in the playoffs. But you would still assume that those guys individually would still be really impactful, and that, again, finding themselves in better scenarios, they would still be guys that could really, help teams and be impactful for what's going on in the league. And like we're saying, this feels like a better place for Desmond Bane to be playing in terms of 2025, 2026 in chemistry and where these rosters are going, all different stuff. And I know Ja and Jaren Jackson, who knows what their future may be in Memphis. But I don't know, just because of the Desmond Bane trade, do we have to kind of look at that now and be like, what do we, what are we thinking of the guys in Memphis? And maybe, again, it's not, would we not trade for Ja Morant? Would we not trade for Jaren Jackson? But maybe the level to which you're bringing them in and they're going to impact is a little bit different as well, too. De Silva, Chad, what is he at right now? 14 points, 4 for 7 from 3. So he could be a guy. De Silva replacing Bane would be one of those things that you're like, as a franchise, it's a, I guess pause a sigh of relief that you have a guy that you can rely on, and as you continue to build out that lineup, can, like we're saying, be an impactful player. But with the investment that you made in Bane, you were obviously hoping that it would be Bane as well, too. And then you had De Silva on the roster anyways because you had him drafted. And it's, I guess, a good thing as well, too, if they didn't trade him just for this one game where you need to just barely get past the Brooklyn Nets. It is what it is. And he has been basically 39% from 3 this year. So pretty consistent here. I guess we don't have an attempts, but four attempts a game. So 20 minutes a game. No starts yet, but we'll I don't know if this game, again, level of competition, the Brooklyn Nets is the end-all, be-all judge, but he will be maybe a guy that we have to keep an eye on for getting more minutes this year. And, they do have a lot of guys that they, of course, can play as well, too. We'll see how, I guess assuming if they were to make the playoffs, we'll see how in the play-in their rotation continues to shape out. But he could definitely be a Final Five guy for him as well too. And again, bringing in Bane, you do have, like we're saying, a lot of those kind of wing guard-esque players. Not they didn't need his spacing ability, in theory. Obviously not him, with 40% or 30% numbers from the three-point range. But you were maybe having a little bit more thought, a little bit more, you were keeping an eye on more of what was going to be happening in the front court, kind of at the center spot for their final 5 minutes. Would they be going Paolo, small ball 5? How would Wendell Carter be playing? Maybe they just go Jonathan Isaac and try to have like a crazy defender, all over the place in the middle there. And then, like we're saying, the athleticism and continue to play small and fast like that. But that was the spot where maybe, again, you thought that you could have a little bit more room to, mess around with in the rotation. But, again, like we're saying, if you do continue to find out that you do have these wings that are going to be more and more reliable, then, hey, long term as well too, it's not going to be a bad thing. I mean, do we have to look? Did they sign Bane to a contract extension? I don't remember. Or he might have one that is just approaching. Either way, shout out, I guess, the Grizzlies guys. We'll see what happens in the trades, but I think they all did get paid. So, their 50-game regular seasons definitely paid off. Shout out. It's an impressive thing. You still got to give them credit. They had, and not only did they have, do we have to, I guess, RIP the Grizzlies. Again, with Bane gone, it's not new now that that team has been broken up. But, I guess it is going to be a little bit different, even if they do turn it around a little bit with Ja and Jaren Jackson, find success with that duo. But, not only, like we were saying, did they have wins, they were finding success, they had an identity as well, too. And Memphis as just kind of a, as a city, but as like a basketball city as well. I guess, we can't necessarily speak on it from the complete day-to-day, but as a basketball city, it does have that, of course. Is it grind city? Is that the right way to say it? Hey, it is what it is. But they have that that grit and grind mentality and that, stereotype, I guess, that's just the way to say it, to their team and to their franchise. And it is a little bit defined as well, too, by the one era. What is the term for it as well, too? We can't look up Grind City Memphis, of course. But hey, DM us at REMINGTOM Pod on Instagram afterwards and try to remind me what the name of the Tony Allen, that whole era was. Zebo? How long was Zebo there for, though? Because there was feels like even a couple different iterations of that team as well, too. But then even, I want to say the Vancouver Grizzlies were, maybe a little bit more of a gritty team. And, I don't know if, maybe the quality of basketball wasn't there in the same type of way. But, regardless, they did kind of fit into sort of and maybe they, the Ja, Bane, Jaren Jackson team, maybe they were a little bit more, flashy than maybe they were more flashing guns than more than the, Mike Conley, Marc Gasol team. I don't know. But, maybe they were a little bit more offensively, a little bit more highlight, capable than those guys. But they still kind of fit into that Memphis lineage of teams. And that identity is, again, important as well, too, not just necessarily success. At the end of the day, you're going to take wins as a team. Like, you're not going to be mad about that. But, I don't know, do we call out, like Sacramento? Hey, like that Light the Beam team from a couple of years ago? That team was definitely fun. Again, they had an identity. They had a style of play. They were playing up and down. They were shooting threes. They were making a lot of threes that year as well, too. So it was finding success for them in the regular season. And I guess, in some ways, kind of those random teams, like and not necessarily like the Chris Webber team being a random team, but, they do have a little bit of success there at the beginning of the century to kind of mix into the history factor. But, that team didn't necessarily feel like and again, the Light the Beam team, it was fun. It was fun to break that playoff drought and for them to be back in the mix like that. And, this just had that Sacramento crowd in those clutch environments, again, was like a reminder of like how great that fan base is as well, too. Definitely an underrated fan base when their team is good. But it wasn't, again, I don't think necessarily like they just didn't have quite the same defining factors, I don't think, of the team the way that this Memphis team did, at least to me anyways. Though again, it being the kind of the one good Sacramento team of recently, that defining factor does help it stand out in the franchise history in that way. Because, for that Marcus Sol Conley team, that team probably had more playoff success than the Jaren Jackson team. I mean, it was definitely, and I guess I don't know with Tony Allen exactly, and with what version of how many guys we want to assume on the roster, but I would assume that like Allen and Marcus Gasol won more playoff games together than John Morant and Jaren Jackson. We're not even gonna look at the stats because if it's wrong, that'd be a little interesting. But maybe we should fact check it just to see. But again, they upset the Spurs, so we're definitely salty about that. We have difficulty, of course, having fond memories of that Grizzly team, even though Mike Conley is a great player. Shout out. We would have loved to have Mike Conley. We'll still take Mike Conley. If you assistant coach Mike Conley, shout out. It'd be great at if Mike Conley wants to start his coaching career off, start getting rings as a coach, then that'd be great. I mean, honestly, that sounds amazing, Chad. Hey, that could be, I start making the pitch right now. Like, that could be a title-winning type move. If we got the Bleacher Report notification that Mike Conley has joined the Spurs coaching staff, I mean, it'd be a bit of a pivot in the middle of the season. And also it'd be like, oh, why didn't you go to the Minnesota staff as well too? But that would be, I mean, San Antonio fans would be excited. I mean, we'd be excited if we got the notification that we got point guard Mike Conley. I'm just saying that, again, I feel like the league would look at that and be like, oh, okay. He's, of course, the basketball IQ is obviously insane, and I don't know if he's said he wants to get into coaching, but I guess it would just depend. I don't, not to say that coaching you have to be like a super public figure. Again, there is the press conferences and stuff. You're going to be in front of the media, but you can, of course, maneuver that to, maybe not necessarily, give away a lot of information, or just, quick interactions or whatever. There's a lot of head coaches that aren't necessarily stars in the NBA. The ones that are, of course, are. But hey, shout out. We've got, of course, like we're saying, Brooklyn versus Orlando still on in the background. It is what it is, chat. But I would say maybe for the more casual audience tuned in, or maybe even the not more casual audience, and with all due respect, maybe just the names of the Magic and the Nets coach might not be the easiest things to recall as well too, if you're just not totally locked in. So again, you can sort of not say that, again, Mike Conley doesn't want to be a star. He is a star as well too, so he can't help it. But you can kind of be a low profile NBA coach, and I guess if you're gonna have success as well. But even even JJ Redick as well too right now, I guess if he was starting to get combative with the media, or if he was really starting to ramp up, I guess, his interactions with the media, then those would get notoriety. But there is not necessarily the same sort of coverage pause of JJ Redick, sort of the same way I think there was last year as well too. We also haven't watched First Take as much this basketball season as we did last year, so there is that as well too. It's like, also you're just not watching ESPN, so obviously you're not watching as much coverage of JJ Redick. Pause. But chat, we also got, I guess, pivot away, Louisville versus Clemson on in the background as well too. We can't League Pass, we have to pay for a second League Pass account. We might have to, or we might actually have to get that Prime account. Who knows? We're not logged in and watching the Prime game as well too. So we're like, okay, might as well throw a little college football on, and Clemson Louisville is the Friday night game. So fun names definitely to have. Louisville is ranked as well too, so there's some stakes. Clemson's 4-5. Hey, So, again, shout out to, people tuning in, listening to the Summer Walker album. Clemson is definitely a team that has been good in the past. Definitely a legacy team. The coach is a coach that, again, has one of maybe the higher legacies that we would have as a college football head coach. But this year has not been a great year for Clemson. They are below 500, of course. 3-4 in the ACC in their conference is pretty tough. And Louisville, again, 20th in the nation, 7-2, seem to be pretty feisty. Miller Moss, former quarterback over at USC, school famous for having good quarterbacks with the coach that they have over there, and he transferred to Louisville. We'll see. I guess I don't know if his stats have necessarily been the same as they would have been, or, you know, of course famous for having that, well, like 7 touchdown game. Was that in a bowl game or game 1 of the season? Maybe he had a good bowl game and a good game 1. I don't remember exactly. But, you know, not surprised that he's also got this Louisville team, you know, being top 25, being pretty good as well, too. But maybe we should... Is Klubnik still starting for Clemson? Okay, he is. Hey, yo, shout out. They must not have any other options. Does that speak to... shout out. We're not saying that Klubnik's the problem for them being 4 or 5. I'm just saying that this would seem like a situation that would... It wouldn't necessarily be new for this type of team to sub in a new quarterback if they had a different look to go to on the bench. But Klubnik is still a guy that is fighting for NFL evaluation. He needs the reps. He needs the tape. You know, I don't know if he wants to necessarily just leave with the tape that he has at this point. But still, the faith that, or, you know, just still giving him the opportunity, I guess. Shout out for that. But they've, you know, not been a team that has been very active in terms of bringing in transfer players. You know, you still expect Dabo, with his notoriety, to be a pretty good recruiter, and for them to still have, you know, depth just because of that as well too. But again, they, you know, maybe even just start going, are there certain plays we can run with other guys just to see, like, in case momentum starts to build. So I guess, again, Louisville being the far better team in this one, 3 wins better, that there would probably be the stronger favorite, I guess. I don't know what the betting line would be for this game. But Clemson is losing right now as well, too, which still, like we're saying, even Clemson being the lower team, you still look at this game and just go, oh, man, I still think that they should be able to win this game. I mean, it's still the same Clemson roster. I guess I don't know what the injuries and stuff, like, you know, how depleted it may look from what sort of preseason projections may have been. But because I think maybe they've lost some receivers and stuff as well, too, that have been pretty impactful. Though Antonio Williams, of course, still a big name receiver anyways. Again, I would have to look at the stats and see 28 total yards through like a quarter and a half. So, you know, not bad, getting involved in the run game and pass game so far. But they just keep having Klubnik throw screens, some checkdowns. So I don't know if, you know, again, we're necessarily tuning in being like, hey, yo, is Cade Klubnik still going in the first round? Like, maybe the NFL evaluators are still have the traits ranked in a certain way. I'm not sure about that. But just in terms, again, of the on-the-field production from where he was at in terms of the prospect evaluation going into Clemson, obviously one of the top-ranked guys. Completion percentage, yeah, 11 for 16 for 93. So I think with sort of and just watching it here as well, too, some of the times that we've checked in on the Clemson box scores, you know, he's definitely had a lot of those sort of safe box scores where, like, yeah, the completion percentage is pretty high, but the yardage totals are low, and that time he has to chuck it out of bounds. The pressure is too intense. Hey, yo, he's chased out of the pocket. So was that 3rd and 5, or it is 3rd and 5 now? Okay, 3rd and 5 now, so they'll still have a play to try to pick up this first down. Yeah, the engage 8. Hey, yo, didn't stand a chance. He did have a receiver kind of open there. You know, throw on the run. Again, that kind of pressure. You know, I don't know. You know, what do we expect from a Division I quarterback that attends Clemson? I'm not sure. But Trevor Lawrence vibes with the hair, chat. Hey, yo. You know, Trevor Lawrence, of course, still one of the better mains that we've had for a college quarterback. But Klubnik's starting to get there. Just the beginning stages of sort of the same Trevor Lawrence hairdo. And again, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you know, even still, is Trevor, because Trevor Lawrence, you know, he obviously has that one TikTok that gets memed in NFL circles. But I don't know, is Trevor Lawrence famous on TikTok? Because he does feel like a pause. Hey, yo, he seems like a guy that is kind of famous. Like, I feel like if we said Trevor Lawrence to, you know, a random person, hey, yo, random to us, you know, respectfully to a random person, we're like, hey, do you know who Trevor Lawrence is? We're like, of course, the NFL is the biggest sport in the league, or in the country. We know who some of these quarterbacks are, but I think he is a guy that would have a couple. Like, is Trevor Lawrence as famous as Matt Stafford, or, you know, Jared Goff as well too? He may definitely be as famous as Jared Goff, but I don't. Do we need to do an NFL quarterback fame ranking? Or is it just like Instagram followers? Can we check on Instagram real quick? How many Instagram followers does Trevor Lawrence have? Let's see here. If he is... Whoa, chat. Hey, yo. I don't know what the number that, hey, drop your guesses in the chat. And we'll see who's closest. A t-shirt? I don't know. We'll send you a t-shirt. IT, get the t-shirt cannon out and see who wins this thing. But 960,000 for Trevor Lawrence. Okay, Trevor Lawrence, get to a mill. What's going on? Jacksonville quarterback. Trevor Lawrence to Dallas. How many followers does Prescott have? 2.2 million. Oh, okay. If you go Dak on Instagram, I guess for us, the two top search results, Dak Prescott number 1, Dakota Johnson number 2, 7.8, shout out, of course. But yeah, Dak Prescott 2.2. So, he's been around a little bit. Fewer more seasons as well, too. But, okay, so Jared Goff, 623. Oh, I would have thought maybe Jared Goff a mil. So is Stafford over under a mil? I feel like Stafford's lady's kind of famous as well, too, right? So Stafford, 215. Oh, Stafford. I mean, maybe in the social media presence as well, too. Again, I guess he's like we're saying, follower count isn't everything. His bio just says QB1 for the Los Angeles Rams. Shout out. You always love the guy kind of doing the normal worker thing on their social media. It's really great. But like the guy that'll still like update their LinkedIn profile. They'll be like, it's always like a fullback or but it's always like a fullback or a linebacker or something. It is what it is. But it's just like, okay, I guess you got to respect the effort, but still, obviously a little unnecessary. Even though I guess out of the league, you're gonna need and maybe, obviously there's obviously the perspective of why does this guy need the LinkedIn profile for himself, but again, a lot of these guys being business minded, and then having the business backgrounds with the education, because they, shout out. Not a hot take. A lot of guys do focus on their education. A lot of athletes. That part gets overlooked a little bit sometimes. But maybe maybe there's like that 3D thinking pause of having the LinkedIn for other people as well too. You help the other people connecting. Who knows? But Stafford, I guess, do we check his LinkedIn? Who has more followers on LinkedIn, Stafford or who are we saying? Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, both those guys. Stafford might be. Is he bottom 10? Pause. QB followers in the league. How many followers does Dylan Gabriel have? I don't know. Is this follower count QB rankings? This is a summer post that Bleacher Report has to... I can't believe they haven't done this at some point. Top 10 most followed QBs in the NFL. Dylan Gabriel, 172. Joe Flacco, chat? I mean, there's 32 teams. That's a decent starting point right there. 179. Hey, yo. Daniel Jones, of course, former... Giants quarterback, so I don't know if the New York market made him more or less famous with the way he was playing over there. 299. So Daniel Jones more famous than Matt Stafford, but not as famous as Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, so I think you start going Lamar, Josh Allen, Mahomes. Those guys I think are pretty crazy. Mahomes 6.6, so he's up there with Dakota Johnson. Hey, yo, chat. I don't know what kind of movies Mahomes is gonna be in. Allen 1.8, Lamar is at 3.6. Hurts in Philly, so I guess we are gonna really rank. Who's Helen Hurts, chat? Hey yo, who is Helen Hurts? Jalen Hurts. Let's see here, 2.1. Jalen Hurts more famous than Lamar Jackson. Ooh, interesting, chat. Interesting. I guess the two Super Bowls. Definitely the fame of a Super Bowl, is that even if you lose the Super Bowl, is that like running for president where you can like just saying that you even lost president, like now Al Gore can charge a lot to go speak at places because he lost the presidential race. It's like and Jalen Hurts got the win as well too, and he also played really well. I know you can obviously respond with, well, he had the plays that at the end of the game he did. Of course, it is what it is. Was able to make up for it and win a Super Bowl, but also played really, really well for 95% of that game. So just as a great player, again, really proved his worth there in that game as well too. but being on that stage twice, running twice, chat, is definitely, helps the name value for sure, because there is just a different level of focus on, the AFC divisional round, maybe even AFC championship, but like the AFC NFC divisional round, than there is just the Super Bowl as well too. So I don't know, Josh Allen, maybe he has some Haley Seinfeld sort of crossover there as well too, and the followers, I don't know, tagged in a couple of posts, and then some extra people following. But yeah, Jalen Hurts being the second most famous, I would not be surprised by that at all. I'm trying to think, I guess Aaron Rodgers, if we were going legacy wise, let's see here, 2.2 as well too. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to, IT will get in the lab and see what the advanced stats metrics need to totally comprise of, because again, Instagram followers is not necessarily the end all be all, obviously, for QB fame rankings. I mean, I feel like you got to work jersey sales, but maybe that's why we think Trevor Lawrence is extra famous, because maybe we've seen him sneakily like in a top 10 or a top 15 in a jersey sale thing, and it's just like kind of sitting in the the subconscious pause, because then you would of course be including other players as well too. So you get Travis Kelce, I guess he could be like a top 3 most famous NFL player at this point, but even like Micah Parsons as well too, just to get Cowboys roster. How many guys in the Cowboys are going to be more famous than anybody in the league as well too? But even the Packers as well are obviously a legacy franchise, like we're saying. Just the Super Bowl guys. So Saquon on that Eagles team, I feel like though that guys the guys that are in that sort of commercial, you see him in commercials, of course, tier is definitely a super famous tier, obviously, but. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I guess maybe in a couple commercials. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence, more famous than Baker Mayfield? Okay, Chad, is that the last one? That'll be the last research that we have to do here for the quarterback fame rankings. Let's see. Baylor Mayfield? We're just cooking up AI quarterbacks all over the place. What was the other one? Oh, Helen Hurts? Helen Hurts and Baylor Mayfield? Hey, shout out. But 1.7 for Baylor. What about Baker? Got him, Chad. Shout out. But Baker, yeah, 1.7. So what we're saying, more famous than Trevor Lawrence. The college run for him as well too. I guess Lawrence, the success is pretty close. Baker is one of the more successful ones, obviously, ever. But they were both definitely had that help for the fame rankings as well too. And Chad, are we finally get to the fourth quarter of this Nets Magic game, and then we're going to turn it off, because the ticker on ESPN reminded me that Blazers Rockets are on, and I guess the Spurs will be playing here in a minute as well too, though. We'll have to sneakily break into an Amazon Prime stream somehow and figure out how to watch that game. But yeah, I was looking at the schedule like, okay, I guess Blazers Rockets probably the primetime game, and we were mentioning about teams that got the win over OKC. Did we say the Blazers earlier? Because that would have been the team that got the win, and I think that is, maybe if it was a team like Denver or San Antonio, some quote unquote little bit more expected, it wouldn't be as a sort of a eyebrow raiser. But that Portland is fun, or maybe on the other end of it as well too. Pause. Like maybe there's like 2/3 of the league where if you're good, it's like okay, we expect him to compete, and then it's like, okay, well, this team is probably not good, so it just was a random game. OKC might have played bad as well, too. But that is the other thing about that game, and I didn't necessarily watch that game. I did see the score for that game, though. Hey, we're not Sean McVay or LeBron. We can't recall it. So the score from like 2 weeks ago, and, McVay's out here like, oh, yeah, I remember the score of a game in that moment that I looked on my phone at, or I looked up at the scoreboard, and this was the score of our game and the score of that game, and then somebody yelled out the score of their parlay, and he's just like able to just recall all 3 things from this thing that happened in 2016, but whatever. What was this? Oh, the score of that Blazers game. We were I think it was a close game. So I think it was a high scoring, maybe like a 120ish type game as well too. I guess we could we could look that up. Hey, it is what it is. We're just gonna be here on the Tristan Da Silva page for a while, I guess. Shout out. Big Tristan De Silva night as he tries to lift this team to above 500 over Brooklyn. Chat, Brooklyn, are they giving up their number one pick? Going 2 wins here. Let's see. The Pistons continue to pile up regular season wins as well too at 10-2. Shout out. We should have done a segment on Cade Cunningham. Had a game the other night where he missed. Here, I had to save the post because I was like, this is crazy. Again, we might have to bring this up at some point. I think I saved it. Let me double check here. Every time we say we saved it, we never did. And I think we're right on track, chat. Hey, yo. There is, I guess an edit here of, MJ Smooth Criminal, Jameis Winston. What a run, chat. Hey, yo. We've got Conan in a Wilt interview. We've got a Jameis clip. We've got an old Michael Jackson clip. So, you can still find the hidden gems out there on social media these days. But I don't even, what were we even looking for at this point, Chad? Hey, yo! Now we're just distracted scrolling Instagram. The post for Cade Cunningham's field goal percentage the other night didn't save it. But he missed like 30 shots. Maybe even 40. I don't think he quite missed 40 shots. But we're just going to start saying that he missed 40 field goals in a game and see if we can get the legend going. Tell your friends, hey, yo. Oh, yeah, I was listening to the Rem and Sam, what's this guy's name? Cade Cunningham, shout out. I was listening to the Rem and Sam live stream, and they said that Cade Cunningham missed 40 shots. Did you hear about that? So, start spreading the word. Hey, yo. But 28% from 3. Oh, man, chat. Hey, yo. The competition between Cade and Bane right now is fierce. Who can get to 30%? I guess Bane is at 30% first. 28% is crazy. The fact that he has also never found his rhythm as an NBA 3-point shooter as well too is a little discouraging as well. He has the 12-point game there, the 12-game season there in 22-23. So, only 27% that year as well too. But I guess never really got a chance to totally get going that year, so you can kind of write that one off. But again, outside of that, 31%, 35%, 35%. So he is kind of more a low 30s 3-point percent shooter than he is a guy that was in that 40% range in college. And, is still a guy that, again, is able to find his shot. So it's not, it is obviously, again, a case of him struggling. But he can still get to looks. Like, the form is still all there. And I guess we'll have to lock in. We'll have to go double check, Is there a hitch in the jumper now? But is that a pause? That sounds like a pause. Who knows? I guess it sounds like a phrase that could be turned into something. But he, again, like we're saying, has just never been able to prove that for these season-long stretches, he's been able to be a super efficient guy from that range. So he'll always be a guy that, and maybe in a Luka sense as well too, where the percentages maybe never match the confidence. Harden, there is that class of guys obviously that can elevate their abilities. Maybe they're just not that, making every 3-point shot for some reason type of guy. But still, even Harden and Luka were 36, 37. It's like, okay, can we get these guys to 40%? So again, Cade's going to still kind of have the same upper tier potential of like, can we see him get to that 40% plus range? Maybe off the dribble. Again, Luka and Harden obviously a little bit more capable in what their moves are and stuff like that. But still, for him to just be on the side of the 30% that he is pretty crazy at this point. But still, if that part of the game is struggling, the assist, 9.9 assists this year, 5 rebounds as well too. So it's pretty close. And like we're saying, for the team around him to be playing this well, and speaking of identities, as the sort of, I guess I don't know if this is Bad Boy Pistons era back, but it's not too far off. Are they the team most likely to start a fight in the league? It could be. It could be. You get Big Stu and Holland out there. Though Big Stu has been kind of quiet this year. Has Big Stu? We have to double check how many games has he played. He hasn't had any clips of him tearing off to fight somebody at this point. So yeah, 9 games. He's only missed like 2. at this point. He's been still playing pretty consistently, listed as questionable for tonight's game. I guess we can check the box score and see if he is playing. He is 39% from 3 this year. Hey, yo, so making up for the fact that, again, Cade has not been able to make anything. 48-39 club for Isaiah Stewart. The new Naz Reid, chat. Hey, yo, we're not trying to be problematic, just comparing basketball skills, but 10 points a game. I guess was Naz in that? Naz? Hey, yo, shout out. Was Naz in that 10-point-a-game range in Minnesota when he was starting to emerge here as a 6-man star type player? How many points per game would Naz put up in the NBA? I don't know. How tall is Naz, Chad? Hey, yo. I don't know if that's relevant. Maybe, rapper NBA, we can just, assume Nas's, it doesn't matter. We're he's in the scenario with the proper skill set to, make up for any type of physical stuff. But yeah, I guess, Naz Reid, 11 points a game, 13, 14 the last couple years, 10 this year, 42% from the field, 32% from 3. And, I don't know if we need to pivot to Minnesota real quick. I think they're playing right now as well, too. Should we just... Oh, okay. Well, let's look up the slate on screen so you guys can see. I guess I should say I think they're playing tonight. But, yeah, they're playing the Sacramento Kings right now, up by 5, 21-16. Oh, that's right. It is NBA Cup night as well, too. I guess they've got... I guess we don't even... It doesn't even register the courts for us anymore. But they do have the trophies on the court, so that makes it noticeable. But the Orlando court is a little bit more subtle. They don't have it green or... See, they could have gone blue as well, too. So, I don't know. Does the franchise themselves choose what color they're making the court? Or does the league, divvy up what color the courts are going to be? Because, yeah, Orlando, I guess, could do, a blue court, which would be crazy. But the gray court is, check the tapes. We're fans of gray courts. We've said it in the past. So, Orlando... We probably even complimented this very own Orlando NBA Cup floor as well, too. It is what it is. But to what we were going to say about Minnesota is as well, too, and just kind of, trying to figure out why their record is maybe a few, I guess, outside of the fact that, Ant Edwards is obviously not played, why is their record a few games back? And I guess if Ant Edwards were to play and then, their record continued to kind of be in this, a good but not great type of range, why would that be? The Naz Reid factor is pretty important for them, and his spacing, they don't have a ton of 3-point shooting on that team, so when he's out there, he is kind of the, the guy, I guess, in the sense back in the day, hey, yo, again, it is what it is. But, he would have been the J.J. Redick, Kyle Korver, but the floor, he's there, I guess, he's the floor spacer for the team. It is what it is. But when he is, like we're saying, in that 32% range, yes, they do have guys that are capable. Ant Edwards was taking the most last year. McDaniels should be a good perimeter guy. Randall can definitely, hopefully, step out and knock down a 3 as well, too. Again, you do have good scorers potentially, and guys like Terrence Shannon, Dillingham, so they should be capable in taking those types of jump shots. But Reid is the guy when Ant Edwards is driving and kicking out to the corners and they're spacing the floors. That's the Naz Reid spot, the Naz Reid opportunities. And again, if he's not that consistent, it just makes the team a little less threatening. And it is always interesting when these teams are reliant on that type of stuff. I mean, you could say as well too, is OKC kind of like this? They have AJ Mitchell scored 17 points a game this year. It's how are they able to get the random guy? Last year it's Lou Dort is able to just make threes in all these games when they need him to make threes, and he's heat checking it. Now, like we're saying, it's AJ Mitchell, and then next year will be the Ousmane Dieng year. Lock it in. This year it was supposed to be Ousmane Dieng and it's AJ Mitchell, but we just misread the schedule. Next year it's Ousmane Dieng, and this year, like we're saying, Mitchell's the guy. But maybe they're just are they fortunate or to stumble in? Presti is the great drafter. Again, however I guess you want to phrase it. And, obviously it is Presti being the great drafter. We're just playing obviously the part of, we're the split guy right there. Pause. The multiple personalities for NBA fans. What's that guy's name? Hey, yo, does he have a name in that movie? Not James McAvoy. Does his character have a name? we're nice people, Chad. Hey, yo, we want to know the guy's name. Shout out. But yeah, if your team is built around, and Naz Reid is a little bit better than a role player, but if your team's built around the role player, floor spacer type guys, it is always a little interesting year to year how the consistency of those teams can shape out. And again, you wouldn't necessarily consider, because Ant Edwards is such a great player, you wouldn't consider Minnesota a team that is built around Naz Reid's three-point shooting. But at AO, Clemson goes into the halftime with the lead. Shout out, 10-9. So they were able to get a scoring drive put together there. Klubnik, the little point as he heads into halftime. Yeah, they got this, chat. 10-9. Yeah, let's go. Dabo charges off the field confidently. Does anybody run more confidently better than Dabo Swinney? Obviously, the clip of him charging down the hill that one time is pretty iconic. Best out of the tunnel runners that we've had. Is Belichick in the top 5? Or, walkers? Hey, yo. Belichick the White Walker? I don't know. But, Dabo, obviously. Harbaugh as well, too. I can't believe we wouldn't mention Harbaugh right away. Our guy Harbaugh, shout out, is an all-time, out of the tunnel pause type of guy. Hey, yo. As well, too. Oh, Desmond Bain, 3 for 6 for 3 tonight. Okay, so he's... Oh, here we go! He knew he missed it, chat, right away. Oh, yeah, that's not good. The minute he landed from that jump shot, he started charging the basket. He's like, let me get this rebound. Hey, yo, the three-point pull-up transition 3. Crazy move. But they're up by 4 now, so Brooklyn decided to get Peterson at the end of this season. And they got a fourth quarter here to try to accomplish that. Michael Porter, will he get traded this year? 11, I guess in a good way, will a team sort of bring him back into the more impactful spotlight? Is he the Trevor Lawrence of the NFL, of the NBA? I don't know if it's the correct impact skill comp, but is he the guy that's a little bit more famous than his play? It makes, I don't know, but regardless. Maybe if you said the name Michael Porter, people would know the name. At this point, I do not know. But, yeah, I guess circling back to OKC, at the end of the day, it does seem like they are more built on Shea's ability to hit a jumper at the end of games than they are, again, whether or not Lou Dort can make three-pointers in the corner. If they were not having a great three-point shooting game because they're so good defensively and Shea can just get buckets on the other end, they can mold into this other version of the team that, at the end with that version of the team, if the team around Shea was not, always 40% from 3, would they be potentially going to break the regular season record? No, obviously the team would be a different level of a team, but it would still be a competitive, I guess, would it be more like this Minnesota team and then we'd have a conversation? I don't know. But, point being, it feels like the identity of that team is got a little bit more of, if you have to go to one thing, what that is. And again, with Minnesota, you're going to go to Edwards if you need to, but he is still a little less defined in his sort of offensive game plan than Shea, if that makes sense. Where, again, we kind of just watch Shea, we kind of know the rhythm of his drives and where he's trying to get to in that little mid-range, and then he's going to get that little turnaround. He's going to get the little pump fake, jump shot in the air, try to draw the foul. He's going to go those little spin moves into the basket and those swooping layups, and just that way he's able to work that whole painted area. Is we just kind of know, again, the different areas he's going to try to attack from. Versus, yes, again, Edwards can get to the basket, like we're saying, he takes the three-pointers. But you still wouldn't say that, or like Durant as well, too. These guys that sort of have these mapped out game plans of how they want to get their buckets and then their ability to translate that as well, too. Post-up guys, Embiid at the peak of his powers back in the day. I'm trying to think of guys that could, obviously are operating from maybe a little bit of a different area as well, too. Because, Durant can make a basket from anywhere, obviously. But, him on, the baseline, and him in those swoop-in driving layups or that sort of Dirk fadeaway on the baseline, we could just really visualize that and know that that's an area that he's obviously, super comfortable with. Like I said, we've seen those scoring moves 100 times over. I don't know if Anthony Edwards is quite in that level of a scorer, even though his numbers I should say that type of a scorer. He's obviously that level of a scorer at the end of the day, but he's not quite that refined as a scorer yet. And that is kind of a thing as well too. Like, Wemby is still kind of figuring that out as well, and obviously the Spurs are not being judged on the same level as the Timberwolves quite yet, where the Timberwolves being in the conference finals the last couple of years, they have the expectation that they want to go up the next step and actually be in and winning the finals itself. But, that'll be a thing that'll have to happen as well too, is that mapping out of his offense will have to get cleaned up. And I guess in a sense as well too, it really, maybe just even the leap that he's had in that sense from last year to this year, we're already forgetting that 12 games in where he was just kind of chaotic and random and falling back to resorting to shooting to a lot of threes last year. What did we look up? He was like 8 or 9 a game last year. So this year with him being a little bit more intentional in the areas that he's trying to attack, it does make it a little bit more, again, reliable, that go-to factor at the end of games and in those clutch moments. Igor Denham, the little sidestep 3 chat. Hey, yo, we saw the people online talking about, like we were saying, this Brooklyn Nets. Do we got to say we're buying up Nets stock? I can't say that we would say that they're like a team of the year for us. I would say we would even consider Washington more team of the year for us than, I guess mistress team, maybe we should say, I guess, because, again, Sam doesn't have an actual team, so that's why he picks team of the year. But if we had to have, us picking a mistress team, us not, shout out, we're not being problematic, but, I guess we do love this version of this first team. We're back, chat. We only need one team now. Hey, yo, we're not winning 35 games a year, but, we don't need another team winning 35 games a year. We're talking about Washington over here being that mistress team. We're like, yeah, we gotta, how much better can we get than San Antonio? Let's see. Oh, the Washington Wizards. Hey, yo, classic men behavior, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But, Alex Sarr, I guess, basketball wise can't be resisted. Hey, yo, but, yeah, I guess Brooklyn's not mistress team, but Brooklyn's like we'll get the number, we'll get the socials, and maybe next year they'll be mistress team. We'll just have to see. Igor Denham 2026, I'm not sure. But I kind of have been impressed, and again, I don't think that the expectation for him, even, what was he, the 8th pick in the draft? So I know that, you can get a franchise guy at any point in the draft. I'm not saying, on one side, I guess I was going to say, it's not fair to necessarily consider him a franchise player. I don't want to, again, not be fair and say, well, he's not going to be a franchise player because he was the 8th pick in the draft. But, that is still a little bit of a different spot in the draft where, yeah, like, what was Jalen Williams, like, well, he might have been the 11th pick in the draft, or was he the 7th pick in the draft? I don't know why I always get that mixed up. Either way, before, after Sohan, maybe, see, I feel like I'm so traumatized by that draft that, and I don't know why I should be so traumatized. Like, shout out, Sohan's great, but then, we're not traumatized that we got Sohan, obviously, IT, do some editing there, but, it's one of those things that is our memory trying to, like, go back and rewrite the way that he was drafted, where it's like, no, he was actually a pick higher than Sohan. The Spurs, they couldn't have helped it. It is what it is. I guess, hey, yo, shout out. IT, again, edit this so it sounds good properly, supporting all our guys, but, because we mean it as well, too. We're trying to be supportive over here, but shout out. But also, it's just fun to go back and sort points per game or whatever in the draft classes and be like, oh, yeah, your team had all the best guys. But, yeah, again, you can have those winning players, obviously, in every point of the draft. But I don't think just because you have 5 first-round picks, I guess, again, if it was 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, like, you wouldn't be going, well, one of these guys is going to be a franchise guy. I guess respectfully, however you want to lay out the conversation. Hey, yo, I'm saying, do we need to make this guy a guy that needs to be on 3rd team All-NBA next year? Do we need to make those the realistic expectations for his career because Brooklyn took 5 first-round picks and because we want this whole scenario, to be a comical scenario and for this thing not to work out? And again, this is sort of like, I guess, trying to defend maybe the Luka Doncic trade. I don't know. But I guess I don't think it is. Because, again, it's sort of a mystery. We have to go back. Like, who did they take Igor Denham over, I guess, would be the the thing to look at this point. Hey, yo, shout out. You know, speaking of us being supportive, 12 games in, we're already the Igor Denim redraft. Hey, yo. But, you know, I can see the vision, and I can see and I got to be honest as well, too. The Josh Giddey success this year has made me a little bit more, you know, I guess, oh, man, can we say it's made me a little bit more open? Hey, yo, sorry to Giddey. I didn't mean to maybe invoke some bad memories there, but, you know, has it made us a little bit more open to potentially having these non-3-point shooter playmaking type guys as a guy on the roster? Now, again, did Brooklyn kind of double up stylistically on some of the guys they took? For sure. But, again, for Denim anyways, there is something, and I guess his 3-point range specifically has not been bad. He's been 37% from there, so he's actually been one of the better, you know, rookie perimeter guys as well, too. I guess I don't know exactly how many he's taken. It doesn't say, but Knuppel at 40% already. Hey, yo, Will Richard from Florida, who I think I remember us watching in the tournament and being like, you know, he can kind of play a little bit. You know, shout out, I guess, hot take. I don't know if that's crazy or not, but Hugo Gonzalez, 50%. I assume the guys that are at 50% are all like, you know, 2 for 4, 3 for 6. Shout out. No disrespect. It's just obviously, you know, a little bit higher than the typical NBA 3-point percentage. Zion James, though, 58%. I was going to say 100%. He might be like 7 for 7. I don't know. But Noah Penda, he might be as well, too. Who can say 17 points? So that's at least 5 for 5 from the 3-point range. And then a layup, that would make sense. 17 and 13 in 47 minutes for Penda. Hey, Boston, Penda and Hugo Gonzalez, the Boston winning the 2026 draft? Who would have thought? But Coward at 75%. Coward also at 48% from the field as well, too. But, yeah, there is, again, his size is definitely something. You can see there is a potential for the range there as well, too, which I think was a question mark for him. And if that is something that is going to be comfortable early on, then it's like, okay, well, then if the playmaking stuff, the stuff that was a little bit more natural earlier on is actually, you know, able to be developed a little bit, that would, you know, be more likely to be developed, then you could actually see him reaching that kind of potential as a player as well, too. But let's see here what the order of the... Oh, I forgot about Derek Queen as well, too. Hey, yo, shout out. That could be one. I saw a Euro step the other night, and I was like, hey, you know, give up another first-round pick for him, honestly. But Malawach, Murphy, Boyles, Denim, you know, it's a good draft as well, too. So it's going to be a tough bar for how these guys all get sorted out. Like, Jeremiah Fears right now is actually, like, you know, he's showcasing something. Like, again, he's not super efficient. He is maybe a volume scorer and maybe needs a second to kind of work some of those stuff, work some of the learning curves out there. But, you know, you're like, okay, he can get a bucket. I could see him being a guy that's in the league for a while for sure. But, again, this is just a tough group of guys here. Knuppel, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, Denim, Murphy Boyles, Malawach, Coward. I guess, you know, some obvious sort of no plays early on with Asenyu and a Sorber from Georgetown. He may be dealing with an injury right now, but again, OKC as well, too. That's a great pick, and he doesn't even have to play this year. We'd still love that pick. You know, he's maybe a guy that needs a year as well, too, kind of messing around a little bit. I guess Kasparunas hasn't gotten any minutes this year. Is Kasparunas injured? Hey, yo. That would maybe make sense. But with the way that he was kind of showing out in preseason a little bit, you know, you would assume that they would find some rotation stuff for him. I don't know. Davion Mitchell kind of locking down the spot there. I'm not sure. But, yeah, we'll have to see. And, again, we still kind of like Kasparunas as well, too. I'm just saying a name here. I don't even know if that's it, but shout out. But, yeah, it does seem like this class has a ton of contributors as well, too. And, again, like, Powell and Seraph, I think I'm not as familiar with, or Seraph, I'm not really as familiar with his game. But Wolf is a little bit redundant from Denim, but, again, he's the fifth guy, or fourth guy, I guess, that you're taking. They had 5 picks overall, 4 picks in the second round, or first round. I should say, hey, yo. So once we say it wrong every time, every version of saying it wrong, and then we'll eventually say it right. But Drake Powell, even, there's still like a wing defender type thing there that, again, stylistically, he's not the same type of guy as Igor Denham. So you're like, okay, those two types of players could play together. We'll just have to see again if they specifically are able to kind of reach those potentials there. But, you know, Brooklyn, I guess we'll see. Like, I think I might have said it before, but, you know, like I'm saying, Denham next to a guy like Dembasta or a guy like Peterson, that's not terrible. And you know what the advantage of having, I think, a lot of those first round picks is it does keep you low cost on the books as well too. I know you have like the Michael Porter contracts and stuff, but again, you know, you're gonna have to get to a certain salary cap threshold. I guess I don't know if they're like dealing with a ton of cap space right now. That again, it may just be used up with the sort of the combination of contracts, but which is how you use up cap space, of course. But like I'm saying, you know, once you trade out like Claxton and Porter Jr., you know, then you're kind of sitting maybe a little bit easier with it, and then you have all those rookie deals, and then now all of a sudden you're drafting Dembasta and a little bit of cap space and a ton of rookies. Like, you're like, okay. Or Peterson, or, you know, whoever at this point. Boozer, I think even Boozer, like we were saying, is, you know, maybe even, or like we were seeing, has had some of the interesting stat lines. I was going to say some of the better ones, but I don't even know. You know, this early on, who's to say, you know, better or worse stat lines. But you can't take his name out of consideration for number one. Hey, yo, you heard it here first. You know, don't forget that Cam Boozer, or is it Caden? Which Boozer? I think it's Cam Boozer. Shout out. I think he could also be in the mix for number one. I don't know. We have to go combine. We need a height and weight for Cam Boozer. Maybe Dembasta and Peterson have a little bit more, you know, again, A+ traits there. I'm not sure. But basketball skill-wise, watch more tape. I could see it being pretty even. De Silva, another three-pointer. Magic back down by one here. That three-pointer now makes it down by one. So they were down by 4, of course. You know, now we can do math. But De Silva continues to have the great night tonight. So, yeah, I guess we can confirm now with 90 seconds, no Paolo in this game for Orlando. You know, I don't feel like, you know, it's important to mention. Maybe we did mention that earlier. Oh, Franz, he banks it in. Hey, yo. Shout out 100 to 98, a minute 20 left. But you still got to be able to close out Brooklyn without Paolo. If anything, you know, you rest Brooklyn against Paolo. They might be doing that, chat. Hey, yo, you rest Paolo against Brooklyn. And you just say, okay, can we win this game without him? Let's see what the rest of these guys are capable of at this point. Yeah, but you got Wendell Carter. De Silva, I guess, is the Paolo minutes guy there. Suggs, and then you still have Bane on the court for the final minutes as well too. So yeah, Suggs, Bane, Franz, De Silva, Carter is your lineup. But with the way De Silva's playing, and I guess Bane is playing well tonight as well too, so maybe Paolo would be on the bench either way. But again, I think Paolo would then be your 5 at this point. You're running Paolo versus Carter. You know, they're able to run things through, of course, Suggs at this point without Paolo, so that point guard center dynamic could make a little bit more sense there instead of having, you know, Paolo as your 5, Jalen Suggs off the ball, though he can definitely do that. Franz, ISO, step back, another 3. Oh, Chet! Franz! Ice in his veins! Cold-blooded! Hey, yo, again, you know, we tread lightly, but, yeah, shout out, Franz Wagner. Basketball sense, ice in his veins. Back-to-back three-pointers, 103 to 98. Shout out to Brooklyn, a beautiful way to get a loss. Magnificent, 98 points again. Brooklyn is going to score like 108 here against, or Orlando's going to score like 108 here against Brooklyn. Is going to be pretty tough. I don't know. Can a coach get fired after a win, chat? I'm not sure. You know, you don't have your best players, so you know we're not calling for it. I'm just saying, like. You know, it's not looking. You don't necessarily walk out of a game, a home game against Brooklyn with like a 6-point win and go, yeah, we're feeling a lot better about the way that this season is going to start trending at this point. But, you know, again, you get your best player back, and if Franz is now making step back threes, then who knows if we have to look at a different version of the team here. But, hey, yo, stuck on kind of an outdated version of the ESPN scores here. Let's see if we can get an update and see kind of how they matched them just fourth quarter for fourth quarter as well too. 24 to 16 fourth quarter, so definitely the superior team. Brooklyn, hot start, man. If they were actually trying this year, maybe they'd be good. Maybe Brooklyn would win the title if they tried. Hey, yo, did they ever think about that? Did they ever consider that, chat? Maybe if they tried to win the title, they could actually do it. It could be a movie moment for the Brooklyn Nets. So 3 for 8 from 3 tonight. De Silva 5 for 9, and then Bane 3 for 7. It's like, okay, I think that is above 40%. So shout out Suggs 2 for 7. Obviously not ideal. Porter 3 for 10, 10 for 22. Claxton with 13, Mann with 12. You can get a couple of seconds for Terrence Mann, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think he might be a contract. We could double check Terrence Mann's contract. I don't know if we have to necessarily, start pocket watching Terrence Mann, but I don't know though. Reggie Bullock has an island, so I'm pretty sure Terrence Mann made as much money as Reggie Bullock? Like, I forget how much did the Mavs pay Reggie Bullock back in the day? Or he was on the Lakers as well too, but I don't think that's where he got paid. I think Dallas was where he got paid. Hey, yo, was it Nico Harrison? I don't think so. But I don't actually remember even when he got hired there, to be honest. Can we look up the timeline for Nico Harrison? How did he get his job, chat? Hey, yo. What's the path? We'd have to, I guess, do a deep dive. Pause. But, yeah, shout out. Orlando, a little 9-0 run here at the end of the fourth. Does look like it is going to get them the win. Oh, chat, you hate to see it. You look over at your phone, you see the Bleacher Report score for the Michigan game, and they're losing early to TCU. College basketball is back. Michigan ranked number 6 in the nation, going to break our hearts early on. Not a college football level loss, of course, in terms of rankings, but still something that you want to, you want to see your team win games, obviously, early in the season. So let me get the game switched around here. And actually here, we'll just go to break real quick. For those that stay tuned for the rambling about Brooklyn Nets basketball, hey, yo, we got Summer Walker album and Igor Denim, talk, I guess, for the A block. Hey, yo, it is what it is. 2026, more, SEO-based topics. Probably not. Just more Igor Denim rants. Who knows? But we'll go to break. We'll be back. New Summer Walker album up next, chat. Get your speakers ready. Get your Spotifys, your Apple Music, your YouTubes. I don't know. Is it on YouTube yet? If you want to follow along with ads. Pandora. Hey, yo. I was talking to some guy at work, and he was talking about some adult. Hey, yo. He was talking about how he wants to get a flip phone again. It's like, wait, one of the new ones? No, one of the old ones, of course. Just go back to the old, the way things were, phone-wise. Get a flip phone. But we were like, well, it's definitely, and hey, yo, hot take. Us, young guy in his 20s, like, we're definitely perusing social media. Peruse? Did we use that right? We're definitely scrolling social media every now and then. So it would be a bummer to, give up the gram. That's for sure. What do we do with what do we do before bed, chat? Hey, yo, if we can't just scroll, the reels. But, I feel like it would be something that, at least for me personally, I think I could adjust to it. Kind of. Well, I'm not going to sit here and talk smack chat. Hey, yo, I couldn't adjust to having a phone at all. But, in theory, I guess a flip phone, I could manage okay. Like, I feel like there wouldn't be too much overall, the necessities. Again, with the flip phone, obviously that's the point. You could still get all the basic communications needs that you would with the basic phone. But I was like, of course, losing Spotify would be tough. Losing your MP3 player, essentially on your phone is a bit of a brutal move. Do I get the boombox back out? Do I just go back to the old school MP3 player and now I've got a phone? And, that's the advantage of having a phone as well, too. It's kind of the all-in-one, all-encompassing, sort of device. And it just kind of limits, the amount of things that you would be carrying on you in a sort of, day-to-day American society. Yeah, yo. But, you got to have your MP3 player and your flip phone otherwise. So am I carrying those around and some wired earbuds? Maybe I'm getting... Now I've got like a wireless earbuds transmitter plugged into my, MP3 player. I'm not exactly sure how that all works out. Am I getting a touchscreen MP3 player and now I'm kind of walking the line back into a phone? I'm not sure, but let's talk about missing Spotify. And I was like, wait a second. You're an adult. You don't have Spotify. You have Pandora. And he was like, yep, I have Pandora. So I guess, ayo, point being, if you're going to listen to the Summer Walker album on Pandora, we're glad you were able to figure out how to tune into a live stream. Hey, yo, shout out. We'll be right back, chat. We're going on break. All right, we are back, and I just realized that we didn't have the Spotify. I guess I should say we don't have the Spotify tab ready to go here. So give me a second. I figure, hey, yo, we'll just fire back up and get it set up here live. We don't need to keep it in a break anymore if we're just sitting here on our computer, obviously. So let me make sure that everything is totally aligned. Maybe we do go back to break. Everything is totally aligned and looking proper for the Summer Walker album reaction. I guess here we can double check. I want to say number 3 at this point. Over it, still over it, finally over it. We made it, chat. We are there, the end of the trilogy. But, I mean, you know, shout out. She has been killing it this entire time so far. So I don't expect this one to be too far off as well. Hey, yo, IT, where even did our Spotify tab go at this point? Okay, wait a second. I think we're only one more button click away at this point, and we should be good to go. Oh, wait a second. Once we get the Spotify full screen here. Okay, wait a second. 3, 2, 1. Are we ready to go? Bam, chat. Let's fire it up and see what we've got here. Shout out. And, you know, of course, we had Sam calling in on the last Sunday live stream. And we were talking a little bit about the, of course, fact that some of the rap songs have fallen off the charts. And I guess I don't know if that included R&B as well, too, or if that was just like strictly hip-hop rap type, you know, more hippity-hop type songs. But, you know, as I was thinking about it as well, too, and, you know, as has been in the conversation right now, and as people in the industry have been talking about it as well. Hey, yo, Chad, I don't know why it's spazzing right now, but we'll see if we can get it fixed here. But, yeah, we do, of course, like we're saying, let's see here. We will get everything set up and ready to go. As we've been thinking about it, they have been, you know, we were just doing the Grammy noms. We were just looking at all the different albums and projects being awarded and recognized in that. And this, I mean, we could go back and double check throughout history, but this seems to be one of the most recognized, you know, years in which the hip hop and R&B side of things have been recognized. And as I was trying to kind of correlate those two things together, again, you know, obviously, however we want to grade out the commercial success at this point, it's being translated into the numbers differently, and what that means in terms of, you know, just sort of the greater consumption stuff of the, you know, 2025, you know, where we're at right now, then, and with the genre, then I guess, you know, that conversation could be had as well too. But again, just in terms of, I guess, the quality of the music, which is at the end of the day is going to be, you know, the important thing. Like, are we getting good music? Obviously, the quality, like we're saying, is still there, and even amongst the industry as well too, where yes, this other stuff is, like we're saying, having maybe the commercial success. I mean, the hip hop R&B genres are, you know, the best quality right now, and it's being reflected in the award stuff as well too. And, you know, there's a very good chance that, you know, GNX could win actually album of the year. Maybe Clips wins album of the year as well too. But even Bad Bunny is nominated for album of the year as well too. Like, even that is, you know, obviously hip hop adjacent as well too, and, you know, more lenient, you know, hip hop pop kind of, you know, spanning some broad stuff there for sure. Shout out Bad Bunny, you know, make no mistake, man is just not defined by anything, I don't think. But hey, yo, it's like, okay, you know, just trying to be complimentary over here. It is what it is. But you know, just shattering, you know, boundary. You know, hey, yo, Bad Bunny, legendary. It is what it is. We'll keep it moving. But point being, you know, I still can't really. I still think the game is in a good place, I guess, and I don't really know what it means that we're not. It's not in the charting type stuff, but I just think that, again, all these projects have been really, really quality. I do think that even from an album-y type sense, you know, they are, I don't want to say we're getting necessarily better at making albums, but I think there is a focus on sort of the crafting of the whole project. Now, again, there always has been as well too. Hey, hot take, the album, important part of dropping music. But I think that we're in a good place for that as well too. And I guess maybe the balance of the fact that maybe total album listenership isn't what it used to be. There is still a thought into crafting the projects as well, well-crafted projects. So again, it's like, it's not just that, we're getting good songs and good singles and the game is just our playlists are being well fed. It's like, no, we could, in an old school way, if you get rid of the iPhone, the smartphone, like we were saying earlier, and just go down to the flip phone, and then all of a sudden you're now buying vinyls and CDs again or whatever. I don't know, downloading illegal downloads, however you want to, make it work. Like, if you had to listen to just albums from start to finish, again, 2025 has been great for that. 2024 was great for that. The current times we're still in, we're still getting these complete projects as well too. Do we want to debate sort of the classic status and blah blah blah? But these projects are good. They're staying in my rotation. And I guess just because if I was not necessarily going to rank, I don't know where Blue Lips by Schoolboy Q stacks up all time yet, but it's like, okay, I'm still bumping these songs. This new JIT album, I love this new JIT album. Is it immediately a top 10 album of all time? Who knows? But and we're talking obviously a little bit more hip hop here than R&B as well too, but it's all, in the same stuff. And I think if we're, even looking at that and maybe including that in a way that it should be in the conversation, just in terms of, again, if we want to sort of rank, how specific do we want to get in what we're ranking? But, if we're just, again, talking about the music that we're listening to, obviously we're listening to, I guess, all this stuff at the end of the day. But, yeah, like the R&B genre, of course, has been very strong as well too. And the fact that it is, of course, in the 90s and stuff, of course, being started with the hip hop crossover. But I think the fact that some of the production stuff is so much more aligned now between hip hop and R&B, and kind of how fluid it can cross over, and the way that artists kind of, maybe even making an effort as well too to, maybe dabble back and forth in both, or at least, maybe, hey, this production's going to lean a little bit more R&B. This is going to lean a little bit more trap, hip hop type, whatever. So, like we're saying, just the sound and sort of the playlist similarities of a lot of these songs are definitely there's definitely a lot of crossover there as well too, obviously. But yeah, like I'm saying, I still think that 2025, great year for music. The game is in a great place, and maybe it's just, classic Rem and Sam pod. We got to be like counterculture now to whatever the larger conversation is out there. And who knows, even if it is a conversation about the game is dead, because that's what it all, like we're saying, it seems like this other people have reflected that sentiment as well too, where it's like we've all kind of looked around and been like, but this music is still good, so like what's the problem? Like, and I that's always sort of the end of the day conversation is, hey, who cares about the charts and stuff like that? But again, the charts are supposed to just kind of, and yes, I guess maybe we kind of lose sight of the fact that it's like, yes, there's like a corporation, somebody's put this criteria together to make this chart, and it's just kind of one perspective to view the music industry. But again, it's like, okay, if you're doing some sort of charting system, like there should just be a basic way to rank it that actually does kind of reflect what the people are listening to. So if you're just kind of, basic logic, deduction, however you want to say it, whatever, however you're thinking about it, you're like, well, okay, if it's not charting, does that mean people aren't listening to it? Does that mean the music's not good? And then that's, the conversations that are trying to be had at that point. But like we're saying, we're being well fed, and even in the industry itself, it's recognizing that it's some of the best music, with it being, a lot of the nominations this year, like we're saying, at the Grammys, and some of the best opportunities to win. And if you go through the list of snubs as well too, and just go, what were the other best projects of the year? You immediately start with the Weeknd project and other sort of, hip hop, Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo too, we're talking about now, like maybe again, that one specifically, maybe it's more best rap album type of snub than, and just a snub in terms of, I don't even know who you're going to replace it with. Obviously, I'm just saying, like, it didn't get nominated. So I'm just saying it in that sense. But just somebody has to be there. There's two categories. It has to, it's going to be that way. The nominees and the snubs. So snub is just a term as well. I think that does get a little bit lost in the dialogue, where people will be like, well, what are you going to take out for it? And it's like, well, I get that, it's fine. I'm not saying that I'm going to remove any of the nominations. I'm just saying that it didn't get nominated. So the word for that would be snubbed. So it's just in that tier. It's a album that was of the quality, but didn't get selected. That's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying that, hey, all of a sudden we got to start removing other albums and other projects and, hey, we're not, what's the list? I'm just saying, it's like there are projects that were great and also didn't get recognized as well too. And again, from just a larger music perspective as well, it was some of the best music of the year, obviously. So I guess point being, we don't really expect this out. We expect this album to be right in line with that. I don't know why we always kind of start off trying to. It's gonna sound like we're gonna say something negative, but it's like no. We don't expect the album to be. See, I get lost trying to say it the right way. We expect it to be good. Summer Walker is, like we're saying, one of the best in the business. So shout out, great feature list, obviously. So you're just looking at some of the names here. So this should be exciting. I guess the intro track is a little bit of just, an intro, getting warmed up, getting ready. Mariah the Scientist on track 1 as well, too. So do we fire up right away and see what we got here? Of course, if you guys are new to the Rem and Sam pod, I don't know if you're new to listening to, people react to music on YouTube, but, YouTube does have their rules, so we do have to hit the mute every now and then to lock in and actually listen, and then not have the music overplay and, get the stream taken down. It is what it is. Rules of the game, unfortunately. But, just because, we want, the music, I guess, music as a shared experience is obviously a fun thing, but, are we a sucker for sort of an emotional, chorusy type of intro? I don't know if this is in line with the Birds Don't Sing. Birds Don't Sing, of course, hits that sort of emotional crescendo chorusy moment after that verse. But this is just kind of that as, a bridge for the... Is that the right music term there, chat? Hey, maybe we'd have to pull up like a music term list in the background and make sure we're, got the language down right. But I think that's like the kind of bridgy type of intro there for that. I mean, acoustically, sonically, it is, a beautiful piece. Again, Summer Walker, her vocals are great as well too. So just listening to, in terms of like this type of setting as well, this is like the best type of album to listen to. If you are just randomly needing an album to talk over at any point, I guess, it is what it is. But, if you need an album to make noise over at some point, I guess just having great vocals in the background, you're like, I don't even, just the the inflection of the vocals is going to be crazy as well, too. So, again, even as we sit here and talk and just, like, listen to Summer Walker, it's like, okay, she's just amazing. So, and then, Mariah the Scientist specifically on this track as well, too. You just have two great vocal performances. But, this is, like we were saying, definitely going to be exciting. Bryson Tiller, a little 2-disc situation. So not even an hour on the runtime divided up there. I don't know if there's going to be a through line or something that we need to pay attention to. Obviously, it follows the titles of the other albums. But, hey, do we have to go back and revisit for the lyrical cohesiveness of those projects, see what the through lines are, see what the storylines are? Hey, maybe there'll be some reminders if there are here early on in this one. And we should also, for our own sake here, get the Genius tab pulled up in the background as well too. So I don't know if I guess we did kind of peek and see all the features. Oh, so do you have a little bit of maybe kind of a more exciting, I don't know if exciting is the right term, but you have more, I guess, hip-hop people on disc 2 and more R&B people on disc 1. So Mariah the Scientist, Lotto, Doja Cat, Chris Brown, Anderson .Paak, and Bryson Tiller in group 1. Is this like a which lunch table would you rather sit at here? Mariah the Scientist, Lotto, Doja Cat, Chris Brown, Anderson .Paak, and Bryson Tiller. Or Sailor, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Monaleo, maybe. 21 Savage, Brent Faiyaz in Teddy Swims. So, 21 Savage, of course, Summer Walker features on 21 Savage in an R&B when R&B does 21 when restart chat. Summer Walker features on we'll get it right. Features on 21 Travis, 21 who chat? 21 Savage. 21 Travis, I think he's a new rapper. You guys don't know about him yet, but stay tuned. He's on his way. 21 Travis. 21 Savage, when he does R&B tracks, obviously, he gets Summer Walker. So if she wants a rap feature on an R&B track, maybe 21 Savage is a good pull. But this Glorilla Sexy Red track, that could be crazy, chat. That could be crazy. It looks like we haven't heard any of the singles off of this, so I guess Heart of a Woman is the one single, if we're just looking at the streams here. So I don't know if we would have potentially, I'm assuming if our algorithm didn't feed us the Glorilla Sexy Red single when it had gotten released, I'd have been like, we might have had to switch streamers at that point, but like they don't even know how to promote music at that point. It is what it is. You get these artists on a track and it's not on my home page on like the first day it's released, then you're doing something wrong at this point. But I mean, of course the vibes are sexy to start. Like we said, we got the kind of the beautiful kind of vocals in the beginning, and I guess we got to go back see like is that how sad is the lyrics on that song? I don't know. Just double check. But this, kind of on the beat, getting a little bit, little hi-hats, starting to kick in. Starting to get a little slowed down in the vibes with this. So, shout out, Summer Walker, obviously, in the R&B is obviously, going to provide a good range of types of music to listen to. But yeah, chat, and it is I guess just a lot of features as well too. I don't know if it's necessarily half 50-50. We could count it out here, but the mix of a couple solo tracks, you got to have it, even though early on as well too, kind of set the tone, even though the first one is of course just the intro track. So here we can actually look up and see, and shout out, we got the new FKA Twigs album as well too, so maybe some gym listening for tomorrow. Just I don't even know. I guess for us, we've said this before, we'll listen to literally just anything. So if it's just new music and it's new music that we haven't listened to yet and we need to get caught up on, obviously that's just a great time to knock out an album or a bunch of new singles or whatever. It's just again a great period of time to check out music that you haven't listened to before, or even go back and listen to, of course, old new albums where it's like, okay, this is an album I just found, I haven't listened to this one yet, or this person recommended this album. Again, that's a great time to do it. If you're the type of person that has your gym playlist or needs your gym type of songs, then again, you're going to be a little bit limited. You're going to maybe just stick to new releases in those type of areas as well too, I guess, is obviously an option, or older gym song releases. But for us, we'll just, I guess we can listen to anything. So I don't know what the sonic vibe of the FKA Twigs album. It's going to be appropriate. Like, it's going to be the motivating type of, it's a heavy metal gym album. But 5 Seconds of Summer also, I don't know if that one will get a listen. We'll have to see, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if Spotify is going to feed us that one or not. Louis Tomlinson Gets Lost. Okay, so no Louis Tomlinson album. Just 5 Seconds of Summer, FKA Twigs, and Summer Walker. And how is Summer Walker not on homepage, chat? NF, I guess, is taking up all the spots. New EP? Okay, I'm sorry, Summer Walker. We're going to pivot to NF. It seems like everybody's listening to NF. No, shout out. NF, though, he seems like he is, of course, crushing it with this new release. When did this just drop today, this EP? Okay. Whoa, NF and MGK, chat. Unstoppable. We'll be queuing that one up next. NF and James Arthur. Oh, man, we want to talk about emotional vocal performances. James Arthur in Summer Walker, did he feature back in like 18 or 19? We'll see here. Last Day of Summer. Okay, I was gonna say that was the one that I wasn't seeing on there. So that one, I guess, is technically a mixtape considered, her first release. So that's the one I think that is actually the start to finish project that I would be listening to the most. But I guess it's not considered in the trilogy here of the Over It, Still Over It, Finally Over It sort of naming things. But yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know James Arthur if he's collabed or not, but I mean, you know, he's always gonna be like, he's having a good time on the tracks. So shout out. But yeah, let's see here if we can get one of these tracks actually pulled up. Oh, there's Doja Cat. I was gonna say James Arthur, you know, a very distinct voice if you ever did hear him kick in on a track. So I feel like Doja Cat kind of in line with that as well too. No was the title of the first solo track on this album as well too. Oh, chat. And as we're talking over here, we're seeing on the Genius, we've got Beyonce listed on the intro. Hey, yo, did she do a verse? Or on the bridge, or is she just on... Okay, her name is only listed on the intro. Go back and listen to that as well, too. I don't even know what they sampled here. Oh, they sampled Yes off of Dangerously Love, of course. But, yeah, shout out. Just totally distracting ourselves from that. So, you know, not enough, I guess, to get the feature. But the appearance is enough for us. Shout out. So, Terrence Martin on production. We could double check here. Is Terrence Martin a producer, like executive producer, main guy on this? Let's see how many he is responsible here for. Can we get a track listing? T. Martin. Okay. So not the first one and a half. You know, oh, chat, here we go. We're in the, you know, a little bit more trap vibes. Chris Brown on the feature. Uh-oh. Chat, this album is pretty deadly. Again, you know, like we were saying, I guess I didn't see the amount of tracks. So 2 discs was at like 18 tracks here. 18 tracks, 55 minutes. So it's a brisk pace through these tracks. And, you know, from even No, Go Girl, Baby, we get a kind of a nice little run here, a nice little mix up between the three. You know, like we're saying, No is a little bit kind of a little bit slower, a little bit more kind of like you feel like there's a little bit of a build up kind of happening there. And this one does, pause all descriptions of this album, yo. But, you know, this one is, you know, like we're saying, a little bit more kind of trappish, if that's a word. Hey, yo, now we're sounding like, or is this just like us saying things like we're in, what's the movie? Watch Get Rich, Die Trying. Is Terrence Winter writing our script for tonight? He might be. But, I mean, you know, Chris Brown, of course, is going to be just a dynamic name you're going to want to maximize for a feature here. Potential, you know, hit record, obviously. And with this production, I got to say, chat, pretty strong. I don't, you know, we never know what's a hit here. So we just, obviously, just tell you what songs we like. And sometimes we tell you Nokia's a hit, and sometimes we tell you Meet Your Padres you're a hit. You know, it's like the same draft class. There's 2 we like the one, we thought the one quarterback was going to be really good, and nobody believed in him, but we also thought that quarterback was going to be bad, and everybody liked it, and he's actually turned out to be really good. But yeah, I was like, oh, we thought Nokia was going to be good. What a take. But Meet Your Padre also we kind of liked as well too. But if Meet Your Padre played on shuffle, would I skip it? I probably would, just because I'd be like, hey, yo, we've got better things to do. But still, I might listen to it a little bit and be like, Meet Your Padre. I'd be like, oh, this silly song, this goofy song. Wait, it played all the way through. What just happened? But oh, and also the song by Chris Brown just played all the way through. Kind of perfect timing when we said that. So, and then yeah, you kind of, kind of soft, a lovely track. Dare we say a lovely track with the Anderson .Paak feature here. I guess, I don't know, maybe not lovely. 1-800-Heartbreak. I don't know if you can necessarily describe it as that. But, softer, mellower type of production. Anderson .Paak could give you a little bit of a fast rap. He's obviously a very versatile artist. But I guess we're going to get kind of crooning, singing Anderson .Paak on this one. So, shout out. Ooh, you know, heavy drums, heavy bass as well too. I like the, ooh, and it's a nice little kick there, chat. Hey, yo, I do kind of like the mix up as well too, because like we were saying, it was nice, kind of a nice sort of change off of that track with Chris Brown. Like we're saying, we're mixing up the production, we're keeping them guessing. This one as well too, I guess, is the first time we're really gonna sit with the track. Hey, yo, even that Chris Brown track, you know, keep him around quick for a feature. 228 on the runtime. This time we got 524s. Anderson .Paak just got to sing his heart out, chat. What's going on? We might have to pull up the Genius here for the Anderson .Paak and see if he's going to be the one responsible for carrying on the runtime for this song. But yeah, like I'm saying, they haven't missed. So I mean, you know, Summer Walker, I doubt is going to miss on a beat as well too. Are R&B people, R&B artists, I should say, hey, yo, are R&B artists better at beat selection than hip-hop artists? Like, are they better at more consistent beat selection? I don't know. But Summer Walker, for sure, is amongst the best. So let's see here what we've got for this song. No, chat, she's just... Oh, Whoa, am I spoiling? Little beat switch. We got a part 2 label here on the Genius. And then that's, I guess, spoiler alert, when Anderson .Paak's going to kick in. So, you know, we haven't even got to what could potentially be a beat switch. But, you know, obviously, depending on how this lands, this could be early contender for, you know, I was going to say beat of the album here. You know, production of the album on this. Because even this first beat right now as well, too, is pretty fun. The last one with Chris Brown was really great. And, you know, all of these have been great as well, too. But this, you get the, you know, kind of the big warbling bass on this one. And then, like we were saying, just kind of the mix up of the heavy drums over the kind of the softer sample there is pretty fun. And then 2 Summer Walker solos after this. And then disc 1 with Bryson Tiller closing it out. So disc 1 is a tough disc to beat, chat, for disc 2. Again, she's got the crew for sure. Glorilla, Sexy Red, 21 Savage, Brent Fires. I guess, you know, again, shout out Mona Leo as well too. Just, you know, for us, not a name that we would be as familiar with. And I guess, you know, like Brent Fires and Teddy Swims would just be more names we're familiar with. I wouldn't say that we listen. You know, Teddy Swims, I think, has got a couple of hits obviously out there. But Fayez, shout out, is somebody that I wouldn't say, you know, we would just queue up a ton of songs. That's not, you know, I'm just telling you my own personal. You can only queue up so many guys' songs. Hey, yo, you know, I'm sure we pull up his monthly listeners. He's probably doing okay. But, oh, chat. Hey, yo, lock in. What do we got here? Little phone call beat switch. Should we see? Is Anderson .Paak on production for this one? Is this Terrence Martin again? I don't know. Oh, chat. Oh, Summer Walker taking a page out of Drake's book. Hey, yo, what do we got? Like 17 writers on this track? I don't know, but I don't think we have either of the producers that we mentioned as well too. Brian Michael Cox is responsible for this masterpiece, I guess, getting the lead credit. And Anderson .Paak, of course, he's always going to find a good pocket over the track. I'm sure, hey, we're not paying attention to even what he's saying over here, but I'm sure he's obviously got great bars. Ooh, we got the build back up on this beat, chat. Yeah, this is a great one. You know, obviously it's you know, a little bit more impressive with the beat switch in there, but just like we're saying, the individual beats themselves as well too, both do hit pretty good. So, and yeah, Anderson .Paak is definitely, you know, making the verse worth it as well too. I don't know, does Anderson .Paak charge by the word? He might, honestly, because he really runs the table here a little bit with this one. But shout out, you know, he's always, I think, a guy that'll kind of prioritize a feature a little bit. And, you know, it is an important part of the career as well too. I think that obviously not a hot take, but you do kind of forget how, and I think, you know, Kendrick, you know, if everything just goes back to Kendrick, of course, at some point, but yeah, Kendrick kind of re-showed how important those features can be. And I guess, again, like Drake himself, even before the beef, obviously was showing the power of a feature with how he could raise the level of an artist around him by just appearing on their tracks. But I'm maybe more for the artists themselves that is featuring, like the performance that they can have in a verse. Because, I mean, if you're a great artist, you can have obviously a song with 3 great verses on it. That's not out of the realm of possibility. And then you can even have a great hook with those verses. Hey, yo, I'm sure it's happened before. But the ability to just kind of show up for a verse, it's not necessarily like a NBA guy moving into a new phase of his career, but it's like, okay, Durant now only has to take open threes on the Warriors. Like, if Durant's able to just be the most efficient guy of all time, it's going to really prove, how great he is. Validate, obviously everything's going to validate the career before that, but, validating, again, how good he is in the more guarded scenarios, I guess. Maybe it usually is the other way around. I'm not sure. But, again, it's, if you give him a little bit more space to operate, give him a little bit more of a narrow focus, and really see how he's able to perform in those, kind of more quote unquote easier circumstances, and how he can really, elevate in what he's bringing to the table from a verse standpoint. But Anderson .Paak, I guess, is one of those guys that I'm saying. He always seems to kind of take a feature seriously. He kind of knows that those can be a little bit of a moment. And, keeps you around as well, too, without, of course, having to drop a full body of work or even a single yourself, and, kind of keep your own discography looking a certain way, of course, as well, too. But then keeps your name out there, keeps the, the skill level kind of in the zeitgeist, people knowing that as well, too. So, yeah, like we're saying, we do have the Bryson Tiller feature here to round out beat 1. Hey, yo, Heart of a Woman. So this is the single off of this. And I like this being the single as well, too. Again, we try to save as much of the albums as possible as we can going into them, just because that's the way I like to listen to it. And it's fun to hear all the new songs together. I don't want to have that experience where, because you do enjoy, and I guess obviously a single can be so great that's like, just overplay it so many times, but just the kind of the rush that you're getting in a sense from listening, just as a way to describe it, like, I guess it is what it is. I'm not saying it's the greatest, is it a top 3 rush of all time? It might be, but the rush, just whatever sort of, again, the mood is for discovering new music. Like, I don't want that necessarily. I don't want the album experience to feel like it was dragged down by, like, oh, is there some familiarity here that's like, kind of killing that, whatever that emotional roller coaster is that you're going on. It's like, okay, this song's new. What's up next? I can't wait for this. Like, let's get to this next song. And then maybe, that solo track or that single track is in there. Then there's a feature up next, and it's like, okay, I've already heard this. It's a great track, but now I'm getting antsy. And it's like, okay, my, messing up how I'm sitting through this album experience the first time. And I just kind of want every song to be as new as possible that first time we hear it on the album. But I do like that one being the single, because I don't want to call it like a more basic R&B track, but it did feel it more, I guess, maybe I should say in the middle kind of tonally for production. Like, it didn't feel like it was trending like too crazy, I guess not crazy, but like too kind of, sexy, dark type with the track. Like we're saying, is it a trap beat? Is it a sort of a yearning? Is that the right way to say it? Is like a yearning art? Like this one, is this is, I don't know if this one goes into lovely. Like, this one might be, like this one is definitely trends more emotional. Like, is it more, emotional track? But it's a little bit more kind of in the middle, like we're saying, emotional track, and then you have a really good diversity of songs leading into that one. And then this one, like we're saying, is definitely the most sort of emotional production that we've gotten so far on the list. And outside of basically, like the intro for that 1-800-Heartbreak, and then, that those drums and bass kicking in, like, obviously this one is going to be just kind of the bass underneath with the production on it, with just, the melody or whatever. I guess I think that's just like whatever the notes are, but with whatever, with no drums, I guess, is the best way to say it. But yeah, that is, like we're saying, her ability to structure these projects is a really great structure. And I don't know if the disc 1, 2 gives you a mental break as well. Like, I don't know if the mental intermission is even something that you need like that, but it does kind of help with the pacing where you're like, okay, disc 1 is done and it's good. And there is something, like I'm saying, about the revisiting of that where, again, I expect disc 2 to be great as well too. But let's just say, disc 2 is really falls off. Just the visual of the fact that disc 1 doesn't have a miss on it, and I can already tell from this track as well too. Those kind of slow double kind of skipping drums. Hey, yo, chat. This is gonna be great. Perfect for a Bryson Tiller feature, you imagine. But like I'm saying, just the fact that there is a disc or a body of work in this, is just the fact that there's a perfect body in this project. I guess, is there one? I think I can see a couple, but just the fact there's a perfect body of, like I'm saying, a quote unquote body of work in this project where, we'll see where disc 2 is. Does it hold up? Does it make this a classic? Does it weigh it down? What are the expectations coming up next? Stay tuned. Second half of the album, but this makes it really great, and it kind of works that way for Lana as well too. I mean, Lana is kind of its own album, and they just obviously reissued SOS with it like that on Spotify as well too. But it's just if they had, I don't know if they had made it all one disc, like if it makes it better or worse, but it's like, okay, I can just kind of go in and the visual of this is the Lana part of it and just listen to that is, I don't know if, it's a positive visual to the Lana, little thing about it, but, I don't know if we have to, just the visual of being able to see that as a project and see how great that is together really, I think, does help it a little bit as well too. And I know maybe you go vinyl sales as well, side A, side B. I don't know how that all kind of plays out in the way that that'll get structured. But yeah, I mean, the Bryson Tiller feature kicking in right now, the slow vocals, like we're saying, I mean, you knew it was going to fit perfect over this beat, but it really does. And this would basically, I would say, make disc 1 9 for 9. So you do see the runtime for the tracks in disc 2. Oh, chat, we're skipping the Bryson Tiller feature. Hey, yo, it was an accident. We'll go back. Even though we were almost done with that song here. I guess maybe it switched and we were just not paying attention. I don't know, but we'll go back to like 220 on the track list. That'll be close enough. Shout out Bryson Tiller. We didn't mean to miss any of the verse if we did there. I didn't see exactly what time we had skipped it on, but maybe that just proves how good the track was. We got to shout out, Bryson. We got to go back and, like we're saying, we got to make sure we play the rest of the track because it was definitely, definitely worth it. But but either way, with the long road times, like we were saying, more features on a couple of these tracks as well too. So would make sense. And I guess this is even a 2-part song though, as well. So we'll see maybe like another little beat switch scenario, and then that's that's not even really that crazy. Honestly, you get Glorilla and Sexy Red on a track 324. I probably want the tracks. Can we get a longer runtime there? Honestly, maybe that should be the 2-part track. But we got a singing kind of a singing start from Summer Walker, but we got another kind of drumless track up until this point as the intro. I guess the intro on the last one was just kind of that bridge. So no, and that really is like the only kind of actual interlude on this album as well too. Again, there is a couple of 2.5-minute tracks, so you'll be able to, get through those quickly. I guess the next one is like 2:13, so you're basically, you're like 15 seconds away from it being an interlude. If it's like under 2 minutes, I don't know, you could call it that and it would be, not the craziest thing in the world. But, again, that kind of just, you go track for track on the 18, because an 18-track, 55-minute album, that could be, and I guess, again, like we're saying, 17 full tracks. I guess we'll be realistic. We'll be consistent with what we're trying to say here. But you could maybe even be at like 14 tracks and then a couple of interludes and then like an intro and an outro as well too, where you know, again, it's a great project, and if that's how you want to structure it, if that's your vision, obviously that's great as well too. But just to give her her proper credit, like, you know, she's going 17, you know, 17 full songs here, and up until this point, you know, again, she's not missing as well too, because I mean, like I've said as before, you know, I'll enjoy just hearing a good singing performance as well. So even if these tracks, you know, sometimes it's like not always the mood to be queuing up a slower, you know, kind of emotional R&B track. It's a song that is obviously, like we're saying, the quality is there for sure, but I'm never going to be against listening to it if it ever does come on for me personally, you know, because it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll just lock in for this singing performance. I guess driving around in the car, if we just have to, you know, really lock in and, you know, warm up the vocals here, I guess it is what it is. You know, we can step up to the plate. And like we're saying, she doesn't have a feature on this one as well too. So, you know, this is the perfect one. You got a feature on this type of track in your car, driving around, or, you know, in your room, hanging out, song on the speakers. It is what it is. You know, I guess a couple other ones as well, like we're saying, didn't have the features, but this one is a little bit more of the runtime, so I don't even think she needed a feature on Situationship or No. You know, those are perfect solo tracks. She didn't need a feature on this one as well too, but this one does give you the runtime to kind of create your own feature there if you need to cue that up at some point. You got some stuff you got to say, chat? Hey, yo, driving around, I don't know, is this a Windows down feature? Maybe you're really yelling at the world driving around. I don't know, you know, what's going on out there. But if you got to say it, chat. Hey, yo, you know, I guess, you know, shout out. We're not necessarily going to go therapy corner here. We're not that, you know, we don't have all that knowledge for you. But I can't imagine that, you know, singing it in a car or driving around is going to be not, I can't imagine that that's not helpful at some point as well, too. So here we go, chat. You know, hey, yo, she just like, just one emotional track there to start off. You know, again, full range R&B. Just gotta flex the skills there for a second. But we're back. We got a little. I guess we're not back. We never left. But we're back with the I can't call them the fun beats, but you know, we gotta be efficient with the words that we're saying here. So you know, I guess just to find the easiest word possible, the fun beats versus the emotional beats. You know, it is what we're just trying to categorize all this stuff. We're not necessarily saying, you know, positive or bad either way. And, you know, like we're saying at this point, pretty much all positive. Sailor, not a feature I would be familiar with at this point. But I don't know if this is... We'd have to go back. I guess, Ayo, we were definitely talking too much over that Lotto Doja Cat track. I did not give that one a listen. Ayo, chat. It is what it is. Except for when the Doja Cat feature, you know, we heard the Doja Cat verse there. But we might cue that one up and at the end, chat, Ayo, because like we were saying, I was definitely rambling about something and do not remember that track. But this might be kind of the most rap beat of the album at this point, unless, like we're saying, Baby is in that mix. But I think Baby is a little... That does feel kind of more in that trap soul-ish type of lane. I mean, this kind of obviously is going to cross over into all those lanes. Oh, chat. Up next, here we go. Speaking of replaying songs, I might throw the replay button before we even fire this one up. Hey, yo. Glorilla and Sexy Red, do they miss? Sexy Red, is she in the, you know, the hook game? Kind of in that, you know, like we're seeing Big X the Plug. You can get him on a track and drop. We might mute this one, chat, and just vibe out, honestly. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Glorilla, fresh off the Grammy nom. Oh, chat, we'll see if we can we play this one this weekend. Hey, yo, can we get on aux and just fire up the new Summer Walker Glorilla? Because make no mistake, we've said it before, Glorilla is a hit in our circles. So I guess, you know, we don't need to, like, I guess, make that statement. I'm just saying, again, in the grander scope of artists, you can play any artist amongst your friend groups. You know, there are artists of all kinds that we're choosing not to play. You know, I'm just saying that one of the artists that gets played a lot is Glorilla as well too. You know, again, I would say 21 Savage would be an artist that doesn't get played a ton in our friend group. Again, that's just like a personal sort of, you get guys queuing up songs. What are the artists that gets played? It doesn't always tend to be 21 Savage. I'm more Glorilla than 21 Savage, definitely, for sure. And Sexy Red might be in there as well too, just because she's starting to get on a lot of those features as well. And like I'm saying, she'll give you a verse, but I guess, and I've been listening to that, I'm not even gonna remember the name of the Drake song now as well too, with the one with her and SZA on it as well too, Rich Baby Daddy. So her on that hook is obviously really catchy and makes that song, you know, fun to revisit as well too. You want to talk about singing in the car, chat? Hey, yo, you know, I guess it is what it is. But shout out. This has, like we said, you know, been the fun part of the album so far. So I don't know, and you know, just saying that again as a way to describe it. Not saying the other half of the album wasn't fun, but this is maybe the more turned up in a way part of the album. So, oh, chat, do we get like a trio right there? What just happened? Is that like can we say a foursome? Is that the right way to say it? Oh, and then we got the vocals kind of spacing out here at the end. Ooh, oh, chat. Grant Nussmeier doubtful tomorrow versus Arkansas. Hey, yo. What was NFL prospects doubtful, or he's not playing? What's going on? But yeah, we do have the change of pace. So I don't know if this sets us up to go back into a more toned down sort of R&B section of the album as well. But yeah, chat, that's going to be a fun one to replay. And that is a fun mood change as well, too. Kind of, you know, with Summer Walker and with those vocals, like we're saying, kind of getting you in that kind of vibey. And I guess I'm not hearing the production super well in this one with the earbuds in and talking over it. Probably more of the talking over it. But there was kind of a vibiness to the production where I feel like, you know, again, being in the R&B lane, there is always a late night crossover. And that's what can be fun about the R&B as well, too. You know, obviously, is the late night drives. But, you know, when you do have the diversity in all the productions where, you know, and I'd say that every R&B artist is going to have, like, trap hits and aux bangers. But, you know, it's like, whoa, well, now we have a song that maybe has, like, some 24-hour play life, chat. Hey, yo, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Summer Walker. Does this make the 24? I guess what is, you know, I don't know. We start borderline pause territory. But I think, you know, again, it could also be a part of the conversation in some ways. But, you know, what is the most 24/7 track? I guess some tracks are just, you know, great tracks, obviously. They're just going to be played all the time. Like, hey, are you ever going to get sick of hearing that track? You know, I guess, does it have to be a diss track? I was going to say Not Like Us. You know, can you play Not Like Us 24/7? You know, but maybe some people say Not Like Us is not a song that you would, like, play, like, late at night. Like, I guess maybe some say it would be. But, you know, maybe if you're partying and you're, you know, dancing in a club. But maybe if you're, like, you know, slowing it down for the evening, you know, maybe not even in like a crazy way, just, you know, it's like, okay, time to unwind, you know, maybe, you know, Not Like Us is at some point. I'm just saying, you know, maybe it's not the number one 24/7 every day type of song, but, you know, it's like a, you know, I Wonder by, you know, Ye. This is like, it's obviously a great song. You could play it 24/7. Is it a song that would fit pause? You know, it at every sort of whatever you would classify, you know, the environment of the hour of the day. Does it fit at every hour of the day? I don't know. But this Summer Walker album is, I guess, like we're saying, kind of hitting some 24/7 type of territory here with the listenability of it. So this one, like we're saying, 2 parts here. Don't Make Me Do It / Tempted. Hey, yo, Summer Walker solo. Clear Out, ISO, 2 plays for Summer Walker here. Definitely, like we're saying, that slowed down vocal at the end of the last track sets us up for this slower, you know, pace, a little more R&B track. And this why I just like how he calls slow songs R&B songs. It is what it is. But, you know, hey, yo, like we're saying, we're just throwing out terms here. Oh, Spurs tied with the Warriors second quarter. Just watching the ESPN scoreboard. I guess we don't have our phone to be able to tap into Amazon Prime live stream. It is what it is. So shout out. It doesn't matter. This Bucks Hornets game in the fourth quarter has been entertaining enough to keep us, enough in the background for now. 27 seconds left, and it is a 3-point game. 32 lead changes in this one. Charlotte was up by 10, Milwaukee by 17. Looking at the game recap a little bit. Just throw a little game recap in there in the middle of, I guess, track, whatever number we're at this point. Track 4, disc 2, game recap edition. Bucks versus Hornets. Ooh, what was that, like a car? Oh, no, it sounded like the car interior kind of dinging there for a second. But I think it was some kind of... Oh, wait a second. There was like... Maybe that might have been my own phone. I was like, they just like worked in a phone, sound effect. But I think is my phone giving me the... We've listened to too much sound. Yeah, based on your headphone usage over the last 2 days, you've exceeded recommended limit for audio exposure. Hey, yo, chat. Should we let it know? Bluetooth, what do we say? Not Bluetooth. The Bose Color Link. It's not headphones. It's a speaker. So that makes it okay. If the audio is just not being played directly into your ears 24/7. Hey, make the mistake. Big earbuds guy over here. Make the mistake, like I'm saying. But also, the speaker in rotation, I think, is pumping up the stats as well too. So I thought maybe Summer Walker was working in the text notification sound effects there. Could be a good touch, but I think we were just remixing it ourselves. The Rem DJ remix sound and haptics version, where we mix in that sound effect. It is what it is. Hey yo, Summer Walker blaring the music too loudly, as she tries to recover proudly. I guess, is she rapping on this? I don't know. But we don't have to drop bars on the remix as well too. We'll let 21 Savage drop the bars, chat. Hey yo, I don't know if that's a pause or not as well too. But he is up next on the feature. I love Teddy Swims. Hey yo, chat. Is he the headliner of this track list? Why, or is bury Teddy Swims deep in the pause? Whoa, yo. Gotta save him for the end of the track list. She's like, okay, if anybody is gonna tune out, we'll just put the Teddy Swims feature last. I don't know what the thought process was there. Headliner or, one way or the other. But that would be the the final feature on the album. And then Brent Faiyaz in the mix as well too. So this is a slower track. I guess there have been some beat switches and some mix-ups here. So, Anderson .Paak got his own beat in his track. Maybe they do the same for 21 Savage, but we'll see if 21 Savage is, slowing it down. R&B bars here. We'll see if he just straight up says poop. I think he loves saying poop in his tracks. I guess that might be a pause as well too. Poop in your tracks. Hey yo, chat. 21 Savage, a guy known for poop in his tracks. If I guess he is British. Is that a British term for something? I'm not sure. But we've been seeing some reels lately, and then I feel like, speaking of 21 Savage songs not getting played, the one where, or maybe I just saw it in a reel. I might be thinking of two separate songs, but there was a song that played in our friend group where 21 Savage was dropping crazy bars. I forget which song it was. And then I was seeing the reel about the bars that he was dropping on. I think this one was from his last album where he was like, I think somebody pooped. What song is that, chat? Hey, yo, how do I not know what song that is? I think, how many words do we have to type into Spotify to get this? I think somebody pooped. Okay, it's got to be close, chat. I think I got Diarrhea by Poopy Man is the first song that gets suggested. There's no way, chat. But what was this? Oh, Jeremiah Perez. I was like, Brent Faiyaz? No, Jeremiah Perez. Kind of with a little bit of an Ice Spice song there. Oh, here we go. Of course, it's popular. Hey, yo. We should have just pulled up the album. That's obviously the one that it was. And maybe the fact that that's the album or the track title as well too. I don't know which one was, which one was made first, chat, the title of the lyric, but it makes sense I guess Ayo, shout out 21 Savage. We're reading his old lyrics while he's just rapping away over here. I guess we said poop, he didn't. So if that messed up the bet, I'm not sure if it counts or not. But I feel like the song was on Savage mode too, and now I'm not gonna remember. Is it Running? Do I have to pull up the lyrics for Running? Do I have to just play Running next and see what the lyrics are? I forget. That might have been the song that somebody was like, oh, wait a second. 21 Savage on this one, like, I don't know. But, yeah, shout out. Oh, I did queue it up next, chat. Hey, yo, I didn't even mean to. I guess IT checked the tapes. Did I queue it up? What happened? Is my phone listening now? I guess so. Sorry to Summer Walker. I didn't mean to just randomly play I think somebody pooped in the middle of your album reaction, but what does he even say, chat? I guess now that we're here, came from first place, not the runner-up, came from the bottom, made a lot of ends, buy a couple cars just to earn them up, ain't never really been a fan of games. If you spend the night with me, you gotta suck it up. Mike Amari jeans, cost 2 thou. Saint Laurent sweater, that's a few thou. Savage got a lot of bad Buddha, so keep liquor and hookah. Oh, now he's rhyming. I ain't giving 12 no type of conversation. Better off trying to pull a tooth out. And I'm from East Side, better known as Afghan. Okay, so wait, where's the bar, chat? Hey, yo, where it is? Where brand new? Oh, here it is. Brand new coupe. Ain't no roof. Slipping red, but my diamond's blue. What you smoking, Uncle Snoop? It smelled like gas. I think somebody pooped. Chat, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't gone back and revisited the whole chorus. Is it a bar? Do we have to bring back our old classic segment? Shout out to Summer Walker. We have not had to bring out the segment, Is It a Bar? I don't know if we have to go back and re-listen to the Doja Cat verse and double check. She's lead contender for Is It a Bar verse dropper. Though I guess Sexy Red maybe could drop a Is It a Bar for sure as well. I guess we're literally talking about 21 Savage, so maybe I think it might actually be 21 Savage now that I think about it. But is that a bar? Sippin' red, but my diamond's blue. What you smoking, Uncle Snoop? It smell like gas. I think somebody pooped. Iconic, chat. Iconic stuff. Shout out to 21 Savage. Do we have to go back and double check his bars from this one to see what he says? Chat, he should just, I don't know if we can say lean in if that's a pause, but he should just he should just lean in and just, can you be the poop rapper from now on? What a great bar, chat. What a great bar. I mean, hey, yo, chat, these rappers these days, they're so vulgar, they're saying all these crazy things, why can't you just say poop? You don't have to say all these crass words. And plus, I guess you gotta have something that rhymes with Uncle Snoop. He probably was smoking on that Uncle Snoop, hey, whoa, pause, hey, yo. Maybe smoking on something else when he was dropping this bar. But the sippin' reds, but my diamond's blue, is that what puts it over the top? It really might. So shout out back to Summer Walker, chat. Brent Fias, a nice, reminder of obviously what could have been on the table lyrically for Summer Walker in this album. And it, I don't know if she's necessarily, I was gonna say, has she matched that? I guess I don't know if she's, however you way, whatever way you want to invert the rankings, if she's, matched it in that way. But yeah, shout out. I guess, is that's a good beat though, as well too. I guess, speaking of the poop song, hey yo, for 21 Savage, and his flow on that beat is not the most creative as well too. So maybe if it gets maximized in a different way, or if it just like has Alchemist as the producer, then it all of a sudden becomes a good beat. I don't know, but maybe the point being, it does have Alchemist kind of beat creeping along type vibes as well too. We're not trying to start a beef with the Alchemist. Hey yo, shout out Alchemist, call in, defend yourself. Hey yo, but like I said, the production is pretty good as well too. So I don't know if the production made him say poop, but shout out. So do we queue up? We might queue up Running after this one, if I didn't accidentally queue it up already, and see what he says in that one to remind us as well. But yeah, shout out, I guess, for 21 Savage. Another Summer Walker, not on that track though. She would have definitely, made it classic as well too. And she does have that bar on the Kendrick song as well too. We're not obviously saying, we're not getting into too crazy, detailed about maybe what's going on with that, but we are just saying that it is a little bit detailed as well. But I guess maybe the 21 Savage one, maybe not detailed, more just funny wordplay as well. But yeah, shout out to Brent Faiyaz. So I guess we're not going to be queuing up any more 21 Savage songs after this, but I guess I'm not gonna be able to look up the lyrics on Spotify unless I'm actually playing the song. So, though, Spotify, add that in as a new option on the little menu here, where you can click on the little 3 bars, you add to playlist, hide in this album, exclude this track from your taste profile. You have all your different options. Why isn't lyrics just an option that I can pull up here and see what the song lyrics are? Because you can keep the menu, like the way they have it in like that pull down pop up menu, and then the scroll underneath that, like you can kind of keep it the same. You just have the lyrics pop up in that scroll, and it would still be fine. But hey, besides the point, chat. Brent Faiyaz as well. A good performance. Shout out. Again, I would say Brent Faiyaz is a guy that we would definitely need to catch up on some of his projects as well too. But you've always got to respect his ability in the tracks, and he does have a unique voice as well. Speaking of, so you always know when he is featured. But hey, this track feels like we might get a little bit of a kick in here, a little bit of a beat drop. We'll have to see. I'm kind of waiting for the build up here. We got the little I don't know, what are they, a snare? I don't even know what type of drum. What is this on the drum set, chat? I'm not sure. We got some type of hi-hat plus situation, a hi-hat plus. We just have to we refer to instruments like they're streaming situations. A cello is a violin plus, or is that just a viola? I'm not sure. But oh, there we go. We got little drums kicking in. Shout out. We're kind of, I feel like, inverted on the track list. Maybe we are, Chad. Is that what she laid out here? I'm not exactly certain, but we were saying no is kind of in that, that if I say that get over here track, chat, is that too crazy? Is IT gonna have to go back and cut that out? But I don't know. There's just again, there's different types of R&B tracks for different types of R&B moods, and Summer Walker is able to provide a track list that can work throughout the course of a night or whatever type of time of the day. Like I'm saying, you listen to the scene, she can give you a full scope of production on this type of album. So I feel like this track, at this spot in the track list, like we're saying, in disc 2, resembles, mirrors kind of that track 3, though this is like third to last. But, and then what would we have? Teddy Swims is the Mariah Scientist of this album, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not. And then again, she's not necessarily ending with a bridge per se, but it is a shorter track compared to the rest of this track. So, hey, yo, chat. I mean, this track is basically done. Like, we are, we got the Teddy Swims song, and then the next song after that, the balance of features. So wait, let me count it up here. 18 tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7.5 of, I guess, the 17 tracks we were saying, because the scars were saying, half a track. So 7 out of 17. So it is pretty feature heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess just to double check the math. Hey, yo. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so it is 10 tracks. The math does work out. Is the funny thing about numbers, I guess. Hey, yo, unless it's like, I don't know, government spending. Hey, yo, got them. But, you got 10 featured tracks. Again, it is 50 plus on the track list, but in terms of, again, just the listening sort of runtime, it didn't feel like Summer Walker was being outdone by a lot of the artists. Like, you know, Playboi Carti used this to his advantage as well too. You know, the only thing Summer Walker didn't do was add 10 extra solo tracks to just bulk up the runtime on this. You know, we'll shout out obviously the the curation skills that are well in place here. We're literally saying like, oh, you know, what are the solo track count, and then if she, you know, like, oh, but then what happens if she drops extra solo tracks? But that's what I'm saying is, if you have all these features on these track lists and then you're all of a sudden in the album going, you know, wait a second, where'd Summer Walker go? Like, isn't this a Summer Walker project? But that's not the experience I had as well, too. Which is why I was kind of, I like count that out twice, because I was like, okay, it didn't feel like it was necessarily overwhelmed by features, though. Again, there's a lot of people present, and it keeps you moving through the album nicely and keeps you entertained, keeps your attention locked in. Hey, yo, you know, I don't know, you have to be, well, who's that guy? Meeting new people all the time. But in Teddy Swims, hey, yo, last guy, hey, yo, one last handshake, and then, you know, we can leave. Hey, yo, chat. It's like, how many people can we meet in one night? Hey, yo. But, you know, like I'm saying, it does keep that pace of the album nice. And then those Summer Walker solo performances are mixed in and stand out well enough that you're just like, okay, yeah, there's that track, there's that track. You know, again, we're still spending time enough with the main artist that it still feels like their project, even though they're able to curate all of this together as well too. So you know, this has got to be, again, you know, Last Day of Summer is our project for us that we'd be more familiar with as well too. Ignore the amount of tracks saved in here, chat. Hey, yo, we had these saved for the point of going back to the album to play the album, you know, obviously as well too. And then we just queue up so much songs ourselves that, like we're saying, we can struggle to get stuff into playlists because it just is whatever we're searching and queuing up at the moment. But I guess we don't have to justify our music, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. We like the album. But again, you know, it's mostly her in this, you know, her solo on this track list. So, like, Still Over It, the last album that she had, was, yeah, definitely having some features as well, too. But you see this one, 20 for 103. Yeah, she's always, you know, good pacing on the album. 103 is not that bad at all for a 20-track album. And hey, yo, chat, you know, very triumphant build here on the end of this. I like kind of the, I guess, like I'm saying, that triumphant-y. There's a little bit of like a winter-ish type feeling here at the album, which is you know, always a good place to end off at as well too. Where, hey, yo, but you always want to feel like a winner at the end, chat. Hey, yo. But, you know, again, do you want to leave an R&B project feeling sad and heartbroken, maybe finally over it? You know, maybe we pay attention to the lyrics. Allegedly, hey, yo, you know, talking about triumphant, I don't know, chat. Maybe we go back and pay attention. You know, that one might be a scary one to dive into. We could see. But, ooh, we got some violins here, chat. I don't know, speaking of the cello plus, or the violin plus. Hey, yo. Cellos, some instruments, something from the orchestra is being used. So shout out. Probably not the first time in this track list, but like we're saying, that sort of drumless start, and then just the way they were very present in the intro there. I feel like we haven't necessarily had that sort of, the way the strings have been sort of strung out there. I don't even know what you say, chat. Hey, yo. But shout out. Hey, yo, Milwaukee in overtime, up 6, 50 seconds left. Looks like they're going to get the win. Do we get a Spurs score update here before we go as well, too? I don't know. Maybe we stay and lock in on basketball for a couple more minutes after this album is done. But, hey, yo, chat, like I said, you know, who knows what we're able to say for year end of the, you know, technically what counts at this point. Halfway through November. Like I said, it doesn't matter. You know, we're just adding stuff into the rotation. I guess, you know, the last 12 months just could be a conversation that just could be constantly being had in music either anyway. So, you know, last 12 months, this is as good of a project as we've heard. You know, we could go back and, like we're saying, compare it to the Grammy nominations. There's going to be those snubs that are just equally as good. And this is, again, a new window as well, too. But wait, does Summer Walker have Grammy noms for R&B in the past? I'm not sure. I'm assuming, did that Drake track get nominated as a track here? Let's see. In her career, What is going on? Awards and nominations. American Music BET. Oh, maybe no Academy. Oh, what am I looking for? Academy Awards for Summer Walker. I guess she could be a great actor. I don't want to put it off the table, but Grammy Awards is what we should have been referencing as well too. So, like we mentioned, featured on Mr. Morale, very notably. So shout out. I think maybe that feature alone won the album of the year. So shout out. All the Grammy people were like, yeah, you're right. Let's, album of the year. Speaking the truth over here. But 2024, Clear 2 Soft Life, best R&B album. Hey, yo, chat. See, that's and this is always the point of these new albums as well too, as a reminder of what these artists, like, hey, yo, there's sometimes you need to go back and catch up on the whole discography as well too. Wait a second. What is this called? Clear Life 2? Is this on Spotify? This might not be on, or is it an EP? Let me see if it's in the EP section here as well too. But actually going through the Spotify and making an effort to listen to the other things on here as well too. But hey, yeah. Oh, wait, there's Clear. Wait a second. So where is Clear 2? I guess. Oh, Clear 2 Soft Life EP. Okay, so this EP got nominated. I guess, hey, yo. I've got some songs saved in here I got this Childish Gambino song. Oh, and Audio Hug is on this album as well too. Oh, okay. So, like I'm saying, stuff, you can just get stuff lost. And see, this is, I guess you don't need us to tell you how to use Spotify. You guys are probably good at it at this point. But yeah, so that would be a project that we've seen already get nominated. And then, Heart of a Woman got nominated this year already as a solo, as a single track. So we do already have Grammy level quality on this project. It is, a little difficult with the albums at the beginning of the window. Again, not to judge their quality, but you're starting from a blank slate, so you just have nothing to compare it to in terms of the window. You're just like, I guess it could get nominated. Well, we'll just have to see. The Weeknd album was an album early on in January that you're thinking, and I know the window is not necessarily early at that point. So, you're halfway through the year, you're halfway through the window, but at the start of the year. So it's a good kind of a middle area to be at, pause. But regardless of that album, you're like, okay, this is good enough that it should be in the mix and a contender the entire time. And I guess, hey, yo, first one out, chat, what are the odds? But, I think this is in that scenario where, and I don't know, hey, yo, the music community, I guess, will I be listening to the Summer Walker album more than the Weeknd album? See, that gets to personal rotation type stuff. Do I listen to the Summer Walker album more than any Weeknd album already? I don't know. I'd have to go check the numbers. I guess Spotify is introducing those stats now that you can check out. But like I'm saying, this project is one of the problems. Like, okay, this is good enough. I feel like it should be in contending for, the entire time the window is there for this next cycle. But like I'm saying, we're just at the beginning, so we just don't know. It just, and that's not the point. The point is not to focus on the next Grammy cycle. But hey, yo, the REMINGTOM pod keeps track here of what is going on in those aspects. So shout out, chat. Yeah, this was a really, really great album. Fun listen, breezed. I mean, honestly, legitimately one of the easiest listens that we've had up until this point. I mean, this could be just where I'm starting to, hey, yo, Rem becoming an adult segment. We're starting to like R&B more than actual rap music, and I don't know if that's where we're at right now as well too. We're back, hip hop's dead. But like I'm saying, just the pace at which this album was like, oh, wait a second, now we're here, now we're almost done, and this feature, and that's right. It's like, yeah, I mean, we're already flying through this album again, and it's an easy listen. But we'll take a quick break. We'll be back, catch up on some of this NBA stuff. Oh, minute 52, and Clemson is up by 1, so keep an eye. Dabo, for those of us that love listening to Summer Walker and watching Dabo Sweeney coach college football, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, chat, Louisville is missing a field goal as we speak. Oh, man, here, whoa, we're so excited. We still got the album on in the background. I mean, literally on screen and listening to it as well, too. I'm sorry, Dabo, we're not going to hear the game, and we're just going to, I guess, see what's going on there. But, wrong. Unmute. Here we go. Can we get the page pulled back up for the scores? Let's see what we got going on here. But Louisville, oh! Is there a penalty on Clemson? Oh, no, unsportsmanlike on Louisville. I don't even know which direction these guys are going. But Louisville was lined up for a pretty makeable field goal there, and it looked like it got blocked. Did Clemson block? I think they got it. So shout out either way. You know, the clutchness working in their favor there, as they have a 1-point lead now with 1:40 left, so they might be able to close this out and get the win. And yo, chat, I'm slacking. I didn't even switch over the NBA game while we were on break there. But yeah, Clemson gets the ball back. I'm sure they'll be able to run the clock out now with only 1:20 left. And Oregon up 20-6 on Minnesota at the half as well too. Not super surprising there. So a quick look at NBA here before we take off for this evening. Clippers Mavs in a shootout, 104-108. The Mavs trying to play for Nico Harrison. Are they going to rally around the firing of their GM? I don't know if that is the scenario for this team. We shall see. Okay, Minnesota gets the win. See, 8-4. I'm sure their record will even back out a little bit. The Rockets 140 tonight versus Portland. Hey, yo, getting the crazy win. Detroit moves to 11-2. Hey, I'm just scrolling through the league pass. So I guess as a mini preview of the mini overview that we are about to do, with the Spurs down 2 to the Warriors at halftime. Of course, they just played the other night recently, and the Spurs had a good lead in the first half, but Steph Curry, unstoppable, was able to help the Warriors win that one again. Wemby end up winning that one. Wemby with 10, De'Aaron Fox with 14. So I'm not seeing, would they win this game? Would the team make more sense without De'Aaron Fox? And, would they be more likely to win a game against the Warriors? I don't actually think so. I think they'd probably, hot take, be a little worse off without him in a game like this. It might actually need his scoring. And I think especially in maybe some series type environments like this, though you do see that, Castle 3 for 4, at least starting off a little efficient as well too. But yeah, just the course of every type of game, again, his consistency as a lead guy is going to be important there next to Wembanyama. So I keep looking at the minutes like, hey, yo, everybody's playing well tonight. Why are we, losing? But no, Wemby is, Wemby, Fox definitely leading the way in scoring so far. But Steph, have we slowed him down? I don't know. Will Richard. Hey, yo, speaking of him playing well, chat, or who were we looking at earlier from Florida in that draft class? I think it was Will Richard. So, yeah, 2 for 4 from 3 for tonight. Steph with 18. So, Steph just still torching the Spurs. It is what it is. Butler with 10. I mean, you love to see the fact that Butler is still, a good, impactful player for him. But this team is still definitely Steph at these high-end performances carrying this team like it was last year. And he is maybe needed a couple games. The last couple seasons he's definitely had that where he's needed a couple of games to get into rhythm, it felt like. But if he's still able to have those heat check performances, then obviously game to game they're going to be as deadly as any team. But I don't know if, their playoff consistency, as much as maybe we weren't necessarily like banking on them to be a title favorite. I don't know if their playoff consistency would be, hot take, great if it was Steph Curry as a heat check guy in the playoffs. I'm not trying to seem like I'm out on Steph or anything at this point. We still love Steph, but I think he needs a little bit of help to be able to power through playoff rounds at this point. Though, hey, if Steph, does it without any help, hey, yo, that would be a legacy thing that would be awesome for him to achieve, and I'm not necessarily, against it happening as well too. Hey, yo, but Norm Powell, 38 tonight against the New York Knicks. I guess they did end up losing 132-140, but hey, yo, Powell, now that he has his own team in Miami, he's really, opened up the scoring there Towns with 30 now, 39 tonight. No Brunson. McBride only 9 points in his place. Though the bench, the much improved bench. Shamit! Hey, yo, 6 for 12. Cooking the Heat. 36, and then Clarkson with 24. So, 60 points off the bench between those two guys, and then Hart with 12. I mean, hey, yo, Chad. We can really do math here. Is basically the bulk of your production there. So, I feel like Norm Powell has been, just a really good scorer these last couple of years. Make no mistake. But I feel like, this year as well, too, has maybe even, Norm Powell just keeps getting better. It is what it is. 24 a game. So he could be another guy. He was like this last year. Great, I think, first half of the year. Definitely slowed down a little bit. Maybe as, guys are still working their way back and Norm Powell's just, ready to play as the season goes. Maybe he has these better starts. But we'll see. Again, the opportunity is there for him here where unless they were to trade for somebody or one of the young guys were really to continue to take steps forward and they were kind of to focus more on that, again, he's going to still be a guy that you would expect them to be running offense through in a major way all season, with him being one of the main veteran creators. So he did end last year with 21 a game, and he was really efficient, you see, as well, too. I mean, the last 2 years, he's gone from, 17 to 13, so a little bit of a dip there. But, 48 and 39%, basically 48 and 40, 48 and 43, 48 and 41, and then 48 and 46. Hey, yo, so I was going to try to figure out how many years to sort this by, but for his career 11 years, he's 47% from the field and 40% from three, 13 a game. Hey, yo. So we go the last, and I'm not even paying attention here, as the Mavs and the Clippers with 3 minutes left are tied up at 108. Last 6 years, 5-6 years for Norm Powell, 371 games, 17 points a game, 48% from the field, 41% from three. I mean, hot take, Norm Powell's a good scorer. It is what it is. We're a pro Norm Powell pod, and this has been a good era for him in his late 20s. Ooh, I don't know if Norm Powell was in one of those historical comp scenarios we were trying to make a little bit earlier to start the live stream, because he hasn't quite gotten into all-star consideration quite yet. Again, the league is pretty stacked, but regardless, he is continued to really up his scoring, and who knows, Eastern Conference All-Star, I guess, is not off the table for him at some point. If the Heat are a playoff level team around that time, somebody, I guess, Bam, just name value as well too, and obviously he's just a great player, not just being carried by the fact that he's got a cool name or made all NBAs in the past, or not all NBAs but All Stars. Oh, Bam was a guy that has been on the All-Star team but not quite the All-NBA team, and is right there in getting in the mix. So D'Angelo Russell, I think, is having a game, chat. Hey, yo, a classic here on League Pass, a James Harden D'Angelo Russell showdown. It's D'Angelo Russell pick and roll. Hey, yo, the floater. Who needs Cooper Flag when you have D'Angelo Russell, chat? This is the inception of the team. They thought this was a play to get Cooper Flag. They thought, hey, trading Luka, getting Davis, we're going to get defense to build a title. No, actually, we're going to tank and get Cooper Flag and get a young superstar. No, actually, he's going to be a wing next to D'Angelo Russell. So, shout out. I don't know if that's the new GM or they're still, what's the word I'm looking for? Still acting off of the papers that Nico Harrison has laying around. But either way, if D'Angelo Russell is on the floor, he's definitely taking shots. As I'm talking there, I wasn't even paying attention, but I think he just took another one, to be honest. So shout out. He's hypnotizing with how many field goals he takes. So it's, D'Angelo Russell versus James Harden. I mean, classic ISO between the leg dribble defender type guy. Between the leg dribble is crazy, but it seems like their sort of setup game is similar-ish at times, and they are, kind of both those slow attackers as well too. Speaking of Cooper Flag, did Harden get the offensive foul? He might have got the offensive foul there. We might have to turn the volume back on for this one. Another ISO. D'Angelo Russell to the basket. Easy layup. Oh, chat, we're turning into Gus Johnson over here. D'Angelo Russell's got us so excited. Who was the player that he was? What was it? It was that Cooper. What was it, Cooper? Is his name Omarion Cooper? Shout out. I feel like Gus Johnson, his voice cracks so bad we don't even know what that player's name is. But I feel like we're turning into him there in that clip for a second. Where he's like, Omarion Cooper for touchdown. It's honestly probably the only it's the most iconic one since the McDonough one, where he was I think it was the Mariota clip, or maybe it was Derrick Henry, but I think it was a Mariota. Was it the we have to go with Sean McDonough voice crack. Shout out to Sean McDonough. He's a great great play-by-play guy. So we're not trying to necessarily say that he is, not good at his job. I'm just saying that this is a funny moment for sure. Let's see what we get here. Oh, chat, we have a compilation. That's not great. Maybe it was Alex Smith, but yeah, it was in this Titans-Chiefs game. So shout out, we'll get back to the Mavs D'Angelo Russell isolations here as soon as they get out of timeout. We'll see if Jason Kidd wants to try to run a new play. Hey, yo, our Google messing us up over here. Okay, let's see what we got. If we can run this clip, is the NFL going to take us down if we run this Sean McDonough voice crack clip? Maybe not. They will probably be like, nah, you're all good. Either way, I will be able to hear it. If you guys aren't, I'm not sure if I have your audio turned on for you guys hearing the desktop stuff. But shout out. It's not Mariota or Alex Smith. It was, I guess, Marcus Peters on the fumble force. But let's see if we get the voice crack here. The ball comes out. Ayo, pause. Derek Johnson into the end zone. Oh, that's what it was. First time ever in the history of the Chiefs. Shout out, Sean McDonough. So, I don't know if Gus Johnson quite got in the first time ever in the history of the Chiefs. But let's see. Gus Johnson's another one. Obviously, he's going to have a voice crack compilation as well, too. Gus Johnson. I think Gus Johnson might literally be snorting voice crack before he gets in the booth. I think that might be what is responsible for it. Gus Johnson ripped for worst call of all time. I think, and not to shout out Joe Buck, a 114 with 43 seconds left, or I guess not to put Joe Buck on blast. I think that the call with Tyree is up there, honestly, because of the moment as well, too, and just kind of how unfitting the call is for how iconic that highlight is. Like, it is a little bit of a tough call. I think the move is to go back and, like, if you run the highlight, to run it with the radio guys over the highlight, more so than the TV announcer. But, again, if it just is kind of the thing that happens, you end up, the primetime TV guy is kind of just the lead broadcast guy in general, of course. But, wait, voice shattering while Michigan's awful. Okay, wait a second. That is not what we're looking for. I didn't finish reading the headline there. I got nervous. Ohio State PTSD. I was like, we can't risk it. I don't know if it's going to be a good play. But which one do we want here? Oh, yeah, 6 days ago. Hey, yo, I don't know why we just naturally gravitated toward the Michigan-Ohio State game, but it is what it is. Omari Cooper. Hey, yo. Omarion Cooper. Maybe somebody else. Maybe he's on Spotify as well, too. Let's see. Touchdown! Omari Cooper! Unbelievable! This is the first time ever in the history of the Hoosiers. So maybe we need to honestly get a double pause. Hey, yo. We need to get both play-by-play guys in the booth at the same time. Can we have the first ever two play-by-play guy calling the game? Like, I don't think they'd be talking at the same time, but we need to get just Gus Johnson and Sean McDonough. Maybe it's like an alternate broadcast. Maybe one of these days they have an alternate broadcast, and instead of the Manning cast, it's Gus Johnson and Sean McDonough on a couch, and then they get excited about plays, and their voice starts cracking when they get Sean McDonough's like, what? Then, this is all of a sudden a different show on a couch. But either way, I think it could be another alternate broadcast idea for ESPN. So 14 seconds left, 1:14 left on the clock, and know who's got the ball, chat? D'Angelo Russell. He's out an ISO. Oh, they get a good switch, though. Bogdanovich, Harden double. Not the most terrifying thing in the world. D'Angelo Russell misses the basket. Oh, chat. Of course we get overtime because it is what it is. Because we say we love basketball, they're like, you know what? 3 hours is live stream is not enough. You have to go to overtime and watch the overtime period as well, too. Do we watch D'Angelo Russell versus James Harden in overtime? We might, chat. We might have to do it on our own because our voice is starting to leave us. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I guess, shout out. Are your ears starting to leave you too after 3 hours? I think it's a good time, chat, to maybe start winding down the episode. It is what it is. If you're, toughing this out on Spotify, we always appreciate you, or Apple, or Pandora, whatever. Is the Rem and Sam pod on Pandora? I think it is. So shout out for the pod listeners and obviously the live feed guys as well too. The live feed listeners, everybody, shout out. We appreciate our audience, however they consume the Rem and Sam pod. Pause. Ayo. But however you guys are listening and watching the pod, we appreciate it. We shout y'all out, and it can be found, of course, on, like we said, all the podcast platforms. The live streams can be followed on YouTube as well. Wemby up to 6. So it's a Wemby Fox game. Hey, yo. So we got to log off and tap into this, third quarter here for find a live stream. But yeah, we will be back Sunday. Typical schedule, of course, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. However you want to say it, whenever you guys are joining us for the first time. If you guys are joining us again, whatever the case may be, the next time we will be here is Sunday. NFL games, following along. I think I just got a hair in my mouth. Hey, yo. It is what it is. I think it's an eyelash, honestly. Hey, yo, is that even grosser, chat? I'm not sure. DMS at Rem and Sam Pod, what's worse? I was going to say a head hair? Hey, yo, but I think a head hair, that might be something different as well, too. But, yeah, DMs are open at Rem and Sam Pod if you want to DM us about your head hair. Hey, yo. That might be crazy. We might not even be allowed to say that. And then we go to court and we're like, no, we're just talking about what do you think we were saying? But either way, overtime is starting. So, yeah, we got to go now, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Well, I don't know why we're protesting overtime of this D'Angelo Russell show for Dallas. But, Cooper Flag, we're definitely must watch TV. I mean, we're definitely, I feel like if there is, well, I can never say never, but there might not actually be anybody that is, I was going to say, a bigger fan of D'Angelo Russell than me. I don't know. But I feel like I might be the most defender of his game. Maybe that's the best way to say it. I might be the most defensive of D'Angelo Russell's game of anybody in the NBA. I was going to say I would give him the best opportunity of anybody in the league, but the Mavs are literally giving him every offensive possession here at the end of this game. And, first play in overtime, D'Angelo Russell off the screen. Oh, to the corner, chat. Hey, yo, so make no mistake, he gets it back. 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Oh, this is perfect, chat. NBA Cup. There's a trophy on the line. D'Angelo Russell's playing for a trophy, but it doesn't really matter. The team just fired their GM, and he can just take all the offensive looks he wants because Cooper Flag hasn't quite developed yet, and it's only going to be probably it'll be like game 45 before they actually bench him to, give Cooper Flag the ball. So, I mean, he's got time to enjoy, chat. Ayo, the Mavs are going to become, well, I guess I don't know if the Mavs are allowed to become a mistress team, honestly, the Texas team. But yeah, D'Angelo Russell would just be like the guy from Body Double watching Mavs basketball through a window in like a house we have to buy it. It's not a mistress team. The voyeurism team? Oh, chat, there's levels to this. Hey, yo, I don't know what we're, again, allowed to say here on the Rem and Sam pod, but I guess for 2026, we've added a voyeurism team. Shout out. The mistress team, you have your main team, you have your side team that you kind of enjoy watching, but you don't really tell anybody. It's just the team, it's for you, and, it's just about the enjoyment of watching basketball or football or whatever sport. The voyeurism team, what would be the difference? You're still, because at the end of the day, you're just watching basketball. So I guess, you don't follow your mistress team on Instagram, or maybe you do follow your mistress team on Instagram, but you don't like any of their posts. or you don't really get them in your algorithm at all, but it's like every now and then Instagram will feed you a post when it's like, oh yeah, I remember that I follow, hey yo, who did we say? Who's our Mr. The Charlotte Hornets. Hey yo, he's like, I remember that. I don't think we actually follow another NBA team on Instagram because we're loyal like that. Hey yo, it is what it is. But maybe the voyeurism team is the team that you don't follow, but you see their posts, you tune in on the games. Maybe it's you don't watch them, but I'm watching the box scores. Maybe that's what it is. Like I'm watching D'Angelo Russell box scores from a distance in a circular house, way above the hills. And make no mistake, I guess D'Angelo Russell, does he have his own dance routine in the fourth quarter? Okay, chat, we might be taking this a little bit too far at this point. Oh, Chad, is there also turnovers? Is there a guy with a big drill that knocked the ball out of D'Angelo Russell's hands there? I'm not sure, but shout out. I don't know, D'Angelo Russell. Well, I guess we're not going to cast anybody in body double. That we're not going to name anybody and say we want him cast in body double. But shout out. But mainly because it's perfect, and we wouldn't change a thing. Shout out to Palma. But 2:45 left in the fourth quarter. We've got the Mavs with the only bucket so far to start. So pretty brutal offensively for the Clippers at the end of these games. I mean, it's obviously a Harden-led team. I say obviously, but Harden-led team. He's still in. What was even happening with the Clippers last year as well too? Who even remembers? But he felt like there were times when, yes, he's still doing the Harden impersonation pause, but when there is the other scorers around him as well too, maybe no Norm Powell. Hey yo, the impact of that. It just feels like, hey yo, it is what it is. It's more stagnant, obviously, with this version of Harden, maybe even being a little less effective of being able to get downhill than he was in the past. But some of the offensive movement around him and stuff as well, too. Like, it seemed like, with Ty Lue, you could kind of maybe figure out a way to draw up some offense, but still keep him, as kind of the lead point guard figure. But I'm sure Ty Lue is game planning other things right now, maybe more so than on the court stuff, which is maybe why James Harden just has free reign. He's like, you know what? I don't even have to think about the offense. James Harden, just run pick and roll every time and do your thing. We don't even need to win, 50 games this year. We're trying to win enough games to maybe make in the playoffs. The Wall. Can we sell enough tickets for the Wall to be entertaining? I mean, D'Angelo Russell is now just only dribbling backwards. He's not even driving to the basket. We love to see it. This is the sign of great fourth quarter and overtime basketball. Was that Najee Marshall dribbling it off his foot with 5 seconds left? So I think that was setting them up. Oh, off of Derrick Jones Jr.'s foot. Former teammates? Derrick Jones Jr., shout out. Great Mav, of course. I don't know Mavs fans. Do they remember him fondly? I mean, I think he helped him make a title. But I think it was a setup to get him. Oh, the inbound. I was going to say, Najee Marshall with the back cut. Not able to get the layup to go. They met him there at the basket. So good contest. Harden also dribbles back out. Nobody's able to get a layup at this point. Oh, the crossover. Oh, he missed it, chat. He missed it. And I know I'm saying that. I guess I should say he's less effective at scoring around the basket. It is a little weird like that with Harden at this point where, ooh, Michigan up 4. Okay. Not looking too bad there. Where he can still kind of be crafty enough, we should say, to get past some people. But, yeah, he doesn't necessarily, I think, get the layups in the same, convert the layups through the contact the same way that he does in the past. Maybe that is also as well too just the amount of fouls that he would get consistently back in the day would, those baskets that would be makes after the foul or be misses after the fouls just don't get registered in your mental or on the stat sheet as well too. 100% field goal in a game versus the Mavericks all time. Ooh, Zubats. 4-5-25. So earlier this year in the last season, he, I guess, went 11 for 11 against Dallas. Shout out. So 11 for 15 tonight. 27 points, 10 rebounds. James Harden's going to make Zubats a max player. I mean, he's already got, I think, some kind of contract extension recently here, but I'm sure he could rework. Chat. Hey, yo, a trade to somebody with more cap space. Can Zubats rework his deal? I'm sure that those talks could be had. Do we have... Oh, no. We just have highlights here on ESPN. How do we not have a game? Hey, yo. I guess it's probably passed. game time. Though I thought there was another college basketball or college football game on after this. So, ayo. I guess we're not going to be bad about Sports Center. It is what it is. But, yeah, shout out, like we were saying, Zubats killer night tonight as well. And finally, they inbounded Cooper Flag. So we'll see, did they take D'Angelo Russell off the court? They might have. No, they just love running him from the corner to the top of the key. Ayo, Cooper Flag the drive, and there it is. He uses the height. Nice take the guy to the basket. That little turnaround layup. He has the good ability there to be able to make those one-on-one layups when he gets under the basket. So when he got his opportunity, you see his effectiveness right away. And I think, oh, Harden responds right away with a three. Shout out. 120 to 118. Big bucket there. Because now, them getting to the basket, of course, only ties. But does show you, I mean, just even a little bit, like just the, and again, shout out, we love D'Angelo Russell. And not to say even outside of Cooper Flag might be only the one other person, especially if Davis is out. Because like Gafford and Lively, as good as Lively is, like Lively, long-term trade value. However many ways you want to rank him above D'Angelo Russell, like we get the point. But, he's still not going to be a creator in the same way that D'Angelo Russell is. So they need to actually, find a way to balance the two-man game. And they did just run a little bit of a weave there kind of situation with those guys. And, now that it's like been, okay, D'Angelo Russell, he got his 17 turns in a row. And then Cooper Flag got his one. And now D'Angelo Russell's back to the free throw line. Ooh, big miss. Got to get these down, too. Now that D'Angelo Russell's back to the free throw line, that's a pretty good distribution, I think. Every 17 D'Angelo Russell possessions, Cooper Flag gets a layup. So he can still be efficient and score every now and then, but you can really let the pros take care of all the winning and the scoring. So shout out to D'Angelo Russell, like we're saying. We're not trying to sit here and badmouth his game. He can actually be a valuable part to this Mavs team. Make no mistake, but he is one of those guys that just doesn't quite change his play style enough in the way that you would need. If he could play, but that's what I'm saying. If he play a little more off the ball, then he could definitely blend. And this team, again, it can be perfect because he doesn't have to slip too far down the hierarchy. It's like, okay, well, if I'm not getting the possession as the main guy, am I all of a sudden the fifth guy in the corner doing nothing? And it's like, no, you can be the secondary scorer, and we can still run you in a play, and it can be whoever kind of has the better look and what is happening in the set at the moment, but you're still kind of the number two guy next to Cooper Flag. Like, imagine we didn't expect that this is the way the Mavs season was going to end up, but this can be a fun version of the story where Cooper Flag's rookie season has spent a majority of him and D'Angelo Russell and Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall. And to be honest, well, I guess I'm not saying that that's a more fun team because Cooper Flag good and Davis is good and a good center and Kyrie healthy. That's a good team and pretty fun to watch. And I love watching Anthony Davis as well too. But that is a fun team because Najee Marshall brings the energy. Make no mistake. Like we're saying, Gafford and Lively are energetic players as well too. So even that version of the lineup, and Mavs with the free throw attempts here have taken the lead now by 1 point. You get Kyrie back. We'll even see what that does. But that version of the lineup is fun as well, too, where you have, like I'm saying, just Marshall. Can you play Gafford and Lively together? And then, oh, whoa. Hey, yo. Excuse me, chat. But you you do have a lot of guys that can give you energy. Pause. When you are, maybe a more Cooper Flag. And I know, point Flag. Hey, yo. However you want to say that is good for his development or not, at some point as a great player he's going to be a ball dominant player at just possession, however you want to fourth quarter, big moments, whatever it is. You're going to need to put those guys around him that are going to be able to play off of him. And like I'm saying, the energy and hustle of the guys that they can put around him right now can be pretty fun, and they can play up and down the court even as well too. Like Najee Marshall's a good transition player, so he's got 28 tonight even. Hey, yo, it's a good scoring game, I guess, with it being 121 to 120. And we should probably, Ayo, just keeping an eye on the Spurs back here. Pause. It is what it is. Steph chat. Maybe if we get the box score off the screen, maybe he'll stop playing well. I don't know. It's the only option we have left. Though Castle's 11 as well is encouraging to see, again, the balance continuing there with those three guys. And no Dylan Harper tonight, but you do, again, with Harper being a rookie right now, if he's able to impact scoring, great. Obviously, that's you're not going to be against that. But his opportunity to be able to learn gives you some leeway with De'Aaron Fox here as well, too, where just from a usage and a shot distribution standpoint, yes, we can talk about long-term fit. How do you want to play with Harper and Fox and Castle and all these guys together? But again, right now, the distribution of the team, Fox can still be a main guy because Harper is needing some time to be brought along as well. Bogdanovich, 32 minutes. Okay, not 32 points, but 21 points is still one of the better scorers as well. Harden, chat, hey, yo, 6 for 11 from 3, 37 tonight, 7 for 9 from 3, 46. Hey, yo, do we have to double check some of the James Harden stats here and see? I don't know why the computer is thinking I'm trying to zoom when I'm trying to scroll up. Hey, yo, just reset. Can we get a real good focus on the Norm Powell page? Thank you. Okay, there we go. And shout out, once again, if we didn't say, basically 25-point-a-game score this year, Norm Powell. I'm sure we all had that on the page. Chat, why is this being difficult now? Is it going to make us... What did I click? Save as? Oh, man. This is getting out of control. Okay, we want to just search up James Harden's page. Oh, wait, did I click like FN or something? I might have, chat. Let's see what's going on here. Because it keeps opening up the Save As tab. Can you guys see it if it opens up? Okay, you can't. So it's just opening up in the back pause. Whoa. In the background for me right now. But I'm trying to download this Norm Powell tab. Maybe I clicked it a couple of times and it's just reloading each of those times. Okay, I think if I hit J... Oh, it's not typing, chat. Hey, yo. We got malfunctions on the Wi-Fi. On the internet, it is what it is. Here, we'll reload. Rem troubleshoots the basketball reference page. Oh, 13 seconds left. It's tied. Double overtime. I'm just trying to figure out what James Harden's stats were these last couple of games. But, hey, yo, it is what it is. I guess unimportant if we're not able to get it pulled up. 123 to 123. 12 seconds left. Oh, Klay. Welcome back. We forgot about Klay Thompson. I guess, is he also hurt? Hey, yo, what's hurting, chat? Hey, you know, maybe don't ask. It's like, what injury is that, Klay? Okay. I get it. You're having fun. But Cooper Flag, once again, the big body, the strength. I mean, you see the fact that, you know, Batum is definitely holding up, you know, sturdy, whatever you say. Pause. Like, Cooper Flag, regardless, though, is still able to at least, you know, use the contact to create space on his own, but also able to, you know, get the defender off balance as well, too. So, obviously, he's only going to continue to, you know, add in that aspect as well over the course of his NBA career. But, chat, why are we not being able to search here for basketball reference? Hey, yo, it is what it is. I guess something we have to troubleshoot. Okay, I don't know if it's the keyboard or if it's the page, but it might be the page. To ESPN it is, chat. I guess we'll have to look at James Harden's stats some other time. Oh, well. I guess, hey, yo, the internet might be down. Back to the Summer Walker album. Our Chrome page might be tapped, or I guess we can't put this on Chrome, chat. Chrome wouldn't get these problems. The Microsoft Bing, Microsoft Edge page, pause, is being a little sucker right now. So, hey, yo. Pause. So we'll just leave it in this broken version for the last 11 seconds of this game. Assuming we don't get double overtime, it is what it is. The inbound, Bogdanovich. Harden says, I have 46. Give me the ball. 4 seconds left. Oh, chat. Harden goes to the basket. Gafford with the swat and the... Oh! They count it? Did they say goaltend? They got to say goaltend. Oh, did they give him the foul? I don't know what if they get the foul and the goaltend combo or just the goaltend or what's happening there. But, hey, yo, James Harden creating points at the end of the game, 125 to 123. It looked early to call a goaltend, though. Was it over the rim? Pause. It still looked like it was going. Pause. Going on its way up, but oh, wait a second. That was the angle there. That was the angle. What do we got? Oh, I don't know. I think it's clean, chat. I think it's clean. Can they review it? It's close. It does look like it starts to crest a little bit, but I don't even know why you would call that unless you wanted to review it. Hey, yo. It looked close. Again, in real time, it looked more like a foul, like they were going to call a foul than a goaltend. A goaltend, just because I assumed a goaltend wouldn't be what it would be, and, because it's James Harden as well, too. So I guess we got to be careful switching over here to the ESPN that it doesn't spoil it as well, too. We come all this way just to get the results spoiled, but either way, we'll get to react to the play as it happens. Or we can't let this ESPN ticker spoil it as well, too, as it scrolls through. It's got the Bucks Hornets score, but of course we watched that game end there a little bit. But yeah, I guess, we said all the outro stuff earlier, but just to remind you guys, if anybody jumped on at the end when we were just recording the outro here for like 40 minutes, podcast feeds are available on the, where are they, chat? Guess the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Pandora. You got it. You guys know what's up. You probably heard a couple of people do this routine before, but of course, you can find us live here on the YouTube. Oh, chat, they've got some kind of virtual flight pattern on the goaltend. Hey, yo, this is clutch. This is kind of cool. I mean, the eyeball test I feel like is pretty good for goaltends, but that is a good one to kind of, you can see that flight pattern, and it's still, I don't know, I guess they're still saying pause, it's going up, though the pattern does start to narrow or start to level out a little bit, but it's going to have that leveling out until it actually starts to crest over and go down. So yeah, they're giving it the green light in terms of a good block, and I think there's not a test that's not passing here. The virtual test, the eye test, I mean, let's get this review going, chat. Hey, yo, the official call, they got to give him the block. Do they give him the foul? So that's going to mean it's tied up as well, too. Oh, chat, double overtime. Hey, yo, 1.4. Is there any way the Mavs get a good look? It is what it is. Let's see if Cooper Flagg is a hero. Ooh, chat. This is either really worth it or really disappointing. It is what it is. We'll see what happens with the last 1.4 pause. Hey, yo, Cooper Flagg across the court from Najee Marshall. At this point is looking at an inbound one dribble pull-up half-court shot. So, maybe not the worst thing in the world for NBA 2025, honestly. These guys have crazy range, but still. And they're going to have to inbound from the backcourt as well, too. So not necessarily going to get an easy pass for a bucket. The inbound back to the inbounder. Oh! They lose the dribble. Hey, yo, they don't even get a heave, chat. Imagine, and maybe next year that heave's worth 4 points. It is what it is. Max Christie getting, it's okay, man. You're all good. We're not trying to win this game after 4 quarters in an overtime. You don't need to dribble. It's all good. Just lose it out of bounds. But, hey, yo, chat, we'll end it right there. I guess probably cancel us for imitating guys on the Mavs bench. So maybe a good time to tap out. Pause. So, yeah, shout out. Our voice, I guess it is what it is. Double overtime. Shout out. They can fight it out amongst themselves. And like I said, we'll be back Sunday. NFL chat, be here or be square. Hey, yo, tell your friends, tell your family. We'll all be meeting. REMINGTOM Pod, Sunday.